3, 2, 1. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Nerds and Words, episode 67. Glad to have you here. Today, we have Etsu, Blambert, and Kerr. Glad to have you guys on. If we could have a little bit of hear about what your weeks, what we guys were up to. We just had Calpheon Ball, and so looking forward to talking to you guys about that. So, Kerr, how was your week?
My week's been pretty good, honestly. I've been like super motivated to like do shit in BDO, kind of doing this thing where I'm saving up 54,000 Caphras like an idiot.
Sheesh.
Have you made some good progress on that?
Yeah. So I currently have almost 10k Caphras in my inventory, and I have like 20 bill worth of items on the marketplace to sell that are sitting and waiting to sell. So I mean, we're cutting through it pretty nicely.
Very nice.
And then the ball kind of took the winds out of my sails a little bit,
What?
but
Really?
we'll get into that. We'll get into that.
All right.
But other than that, yeah, pretty good.
Blambert, last time we talked to you, you're still grinding Olins. How's it been for you this week?
I have grinded more Olins, and that's about it. No, the Ibidor scroll change came through, so I've done 2 like really long sessions of doing scrolls, and I've made many Kaffir stones.
That's the Odoliden scroll that gives you Caphras, right?
Yeah, the Fang scrolls, people call them.
How good is that now? Is that actually like worth doing, like comparatively?
So, because you can't sell them, because they are what they are, they have a flat value, and they have the same flat value they had before. But the fact that you can run more of them in a shorter amount of time makes it more worth your time to do them. So before it would take you an hour to do a 5x5x5, now in an hour you can do 15 of your own scrolls, which is also 15 group scrolls, which is each scroll is 100 mil, so 15 in an hour, that's 1.5 bill an hour.
My goodness.
Yeah. But you also have to have a stockpile of these to make that. So
yeah, because you have to have a 5-man party and everything for it, right?
Yeah, and everybody has to bring a scroll. There's no leeching or anything. Everybody has to put their part in.
Is it how's it work? Can you still do it the old way where you do it solo, or is it only the new way now?
Yeah, so if you're the only person in your group and you have 1 scroll, you can activate your 1 scroll for yourself. If you have 3 people in your party, each person can activate 1, and you could just be missing 2 people in your party, so you'll still get your scroll worth. But you'll obviously get less loot. It's just not optimized. It's super beneficial to run with a group.
So
no matter what.
Yeah, so it's basically balanced around 5-man party, and then the rest of the time it's like really inefficient to do like 1 or 2 or something like that.
Yeah, you should. I mean, everybody's wanting to do them because of the value, so it should be pretty easy to find groups for it.
Yeah, it makes sense. Awesome. Etsu, we finally have you on the podcast. Thank you, Kerr, for making that happen. I actually used to watch your YouTube videos on Sork to actually like practice my Sork combos, because your Sork videos were like, you were the best Sork that I knew, like for like getting Sork combos. And now you're a DK main, right?
Yeah, I actually went from DK to Sork, and now I'm back on DK again. But yeah, I was doing like a lot of just grinding videos, and just posting them. I remember like you commenting on one of them actually.
Yeah, it's been a long time, man. It's good to finally have you on. It's good to. I don't think I've talked to you a whole lot. I think I've hung out in the stream maybe once or twice, but
yeah,
good to have you on. So what have you been up to? It's first time on, so maybe introduce yourself and tell us what you're up to. What do you do?
Yeah, my name's Etsu. I'm a reformed RBF player. I now grind for fun. I just find new spots to grind every day, and we actually recently got double partner on Monday and Tuesday, like BDO and Twitch. So
wow, congrats!
Going a little crazy, and just grinding. Honestly, that's basically it. Even if it's not efficient.
So I actually am really looking forward to talking to you at some point about during the podcast about DK and what you think about the reworks, because as a DK main, I imagine you have a lot of opinions on that.
Yeah, I have some opinions.
All right, so we'll keep it short now, and we'll come back to it maybe. But what's the best thing about the DK update, like for Succession and Awakening, and what's the worst?
I'll just go with the worst being the accuracy loss in from my perspective, the lack of PvE buffs. If I expand upon like let's just expand on PvE. Succession DK lost PvE crit, and the classes PvE wasn't even that sick comparatively to like high end classes. And in terms of like awakening efficiency in PvE, it seems like it's exactly the same based off of what I've seen and based off of what they've touched, which is virtually nothing in terms of PvE numbers.
Right.
So I'm a little disappointed because one of the biggest things I was looking forward to was like, if my trash compared to a Succession Lawn and compared to like a Awakening Sage is even like 1k off, like I'm cool with that. I was just hoping to see more in terms of like PvE efficiency.
Right now,
in terms, sorry.
I was just curious from your perspective. Are you more of like a Succession player or more of Awakening player?
I've played both, but I primarily almost always on stream play Awakening. Okay. That's what I like. It's the spec I fell in love with. Occasionally, like I'll hop on Succession, and when Succession did come out, I did play it quite a lot, and sometimes I'll just 1v1 on it off stream. But I primarily focus on Awakening.
Okay. And so like now that we kind of know who you are, what have you been up to the last couple weeks? We obviously had Calpheon Ball, and we'll be talking about that. But what have you been doing in game? You said being grinding different grind spots.
Yeah, I mean, I used to like RBF all the time, like for 12 hours a day, and eventually you RBF so much it starts. You start getting instantly tilted when you get on like just spawn in RBF. So I've been trying to avoid it and just go hard grinding. Like 4 months ago, I was like 630 gear score. And then since then, I've penned all my armors, C9'd them, got my pen neck, and just been going a little bit hard, just hitting the mobs, just chilling out. That's mainly it.
4 months of yellow loot scroll, dude.
I'm out of loot scrolls. I've been begging dude. Every day it's like patch day. I'm actually looking like, is there loot scrolls? Like, is there a deal? Like, please save me. Because grinding Elvia with blues after grinding with golds for 4 months,
it's an addiction.
It feels bad.
You shouldn't do it. It's an addiction.
Yeah,
like dude. Artisan memories, dude.
It made me realize, Blonde Bear. We actually used to, I don't know about you, but I remember back in the day, like most people, like they would just grind with no loot scroll. Like
no loot scroll, yeah.
Even at like Star's End or History, like you would just no loot scroll.
Yeah, and then we got used to loot scrolls, and then that was the considered norm was not a loot scroll. Then the considered norm was a loot scroll. Now the considered norm is yellow. So when people are like talking about their numbers and they say like, "Oh yeah, I make 700 mil," I'm like, "You're not making 700 mil at whatever grind spot unless you're doing Olins, right?"
Yeah.
Like, no, I am. I'm like, okay, yellow loot scroll? Because that's a scam. You know that, right?
It is, but it feels so good.
I bet it feels great until you run out of loot scroll.
When you see that number at the end of the hour, you're just, Now I'm used to yellow numbers, and now I look at my loot scrolls.
And you look at your money, and you're just disappointed all the time, and you're like, "Where's my money?"
Yeah. If I don't have loot scrolls, like, why would I grind?
Exactly.
Yep. I think they're pushing this loot scrolls and yellow loot scrolls so hard. I think it's going to go 180, and I think people are going to go back to no loot scrolls as like the norm because people are just going to be all out. People are going to go to like,
if they don't do the sales, I mean, people are going to run out of loot scrolls and not be able to do it.
I think what they should do is once a month or maybe like once a week, you can buy 100 loot scrolls for $50. I think that's what they should be able to do.
Yeah,
a big bundle. You have to spend a lot of money, but you get 100 of them. That's what I think.
Yeah, this is a solid take. I agree.
I don't have very many of those, so I appreciate that.
Just can we make it unlimited? I just want some golds, man.
Yeah.
People back in the day used to just swipe for the value pack. 4,500 pros, like the Omega Whales.
The 90 days.
The 90 day to get 10, yeah.
I know someone at one point had 7 years of value pack because they did that.
Yeah.
It's like, holy
I know people with like hundreds, like thousands, I guess, of days because they bought so many of those packages. That was the only way to get loot scrolls and boost your income.
Do you remember when the new market came out and there was value packs just sitting on market? Yeah. I'm pretty sure it was because of that.
Literally.
My gosh, it's changed so much over the years, and with change comes it doesn't stop with BDO, right? So they have the Calpheon Ball coming up, or I guess it happened, right? And I guess briefly my week. I've been grinding for the Great Marty Stones, trying to get my energy to hard cap energy, which is 629. So I've been grinding those Great Marty Stones, and I've been addicted to those yellow loot scrolls because you have to use them in Valencia. Because if you don't, you lose all the trash loot, right? You get no trash loot bonus if you use blue. So
Yeah.
I've been like, I guess I'll use yellow, and I'm like, please give me it soon. So
Yeah. And it sort of feels like sort of a scam because it's like, okay, so like loot scrolls are now the norm for a long time. They introduce a spot like Elvia that really is really beneficial. Like it doubles like your income basically with the yellow. And then they introduce a spot that only you can use the yellow or else it's not worth it at all. And then it's like, okay, are we like people are really getting scammed out here.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely intentional. I think from my perspective, like, would you guys agree it's intentional that they made it where blues don't work?
100%. Definitely.
For people who don't know, basically 50% trash loot gets rounded down instead of getting rounded up or anything. So you just lose 50% of your trash loot value.
And the reason is because they drop in odd number frequencies. The cap is 1, 3, 5, 7. If it were even numbers, it would always round up at least 1, so you'd get 33% more either way. But they made it odd numbers so that you literally lose but that's how they make their money, right? So
yeah, I think the main thing is like I feel like they're making their money anyway, and they just want to squeeze the golden goose even harder, right? And that's what kind of bothers me about it. It's not necessarily that they're making money off it. I get that. It's more about squeezing the golden goose harder to make an extra buck. You know, they want one more egg.
yeah.
But that's my week away. I've been grinding for the Great Marty Stones. I got 3, I think, between last podcast and this one. I got Blood Wolves, which took me like 150 hours. That was a long one. Then I got Cadres and Gahaz. Which, by the way, Cadres and Gahaz is like 300 mil an hour with yellow loot scroll. It's actually kind of insane. And Pila Ku is now 250 mil an hour, roughly.
The whole point is to trick those new players, right? They're the ones with no AP that are one-shot in these areas.
Yeah.
So you tell them to come here, and all they got to do is spend a little bit extra money, and they're making like crazy good money. Of course, they're gonna fall into it. Right?
Yep.
Dude, the crazy thing though is people are sleeping on people have this sentiment they're like Achman and history are really freaking bad.
Yeah, I don't know why I don't know.
Honestly, Achman with a blue loot scroll,
It's
even
pretty
if
sick.
you
Really
have
good.
hardly any gear, you're breaking 250 mil consistently.
I think it's like the well's just poisoned by Elvia. Like
Yeah.
you know, everybody's like, oh well, you're not making like 700 mil an hour, so it's not good enough. Like it's like, dude.
If you're
That's a little worrisome for what are they going to do for Calpheon? Like, is it going to be even crazier? Is it going to be
I
2
hope they
bill an
move
hour?
away. I don't think they're going to keep doing money. I think it's going to be item based, right? Like the whole new expansion is entirely based upon like the item
drops.
grinds, right? The artifacts and the Deboreka and the this and the that. You know?
You have to think about what you would do if you were in Pearl Business shoes and you wanted to make more money because, you know, tier 2, level 2 loot scroll is not enough. Gold loot scroll is not enough.
Oh, no.
So
No, don't even speak it into
three?
existence. Don't even speak it into existence, please.
Level 3
Oh my
loot
God.
scroll,
Say it.
platinum.
They're
loot
gonna do another level, and they're gonna make it 100% bonus loot, and then they're gonna make the loot in Calpheon Hadum insane. So then it's not gonna be trash loot you want anymore. It's gonna be you want it 200% drop rate.
Can I add on to that?
If this feature gets implemented, it's potion.
I got something pretty sick. That loot with your level 3 loot scroll can only be looted by tier 5 pets.
Oh my
Gosh.
god.
Well,
No.
if you look, the reason I say that is because that little new bar that they added, right, for your loot scroll, it has enough room on there for another slot or two, and it's conveniently placed at level 1, level 2, right? Instead of picking called blue and yellow, calling it B and Y, right? They called it 1 and 2. And I think that's just because they want to put a 3 on there. I mean, it makes sense. They monetized Hadum based on loot scrolls, and they monetized Valencia based on loot scrolls. I don't think that trend's going to change. I think they're going to change strategies a little bit, but I think they're going to continue to try and milk it. That's what I think.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, but let's get to maybe some other better news, or worse, depending on how you want to look at it. They had Calpheon Ball. What are you guys' initial opinions on it? Like, I guess, I don't know, good, bad, like 1 out of 5.
The thing
maybe?
they
Snowboarding
showed
was sick.
awesome.
What? Say that again.
I say everything they showed was freaking awesome. That was like the part that I liked, is that they showed stuff that they actually had, like, actual development time and like a framework for, instead of just promising us stuff with like a slideshow. They like actually showed us evidence of something that they have
Yep.
done slash works, and that was my favorite part personally.
Every ball has been a hype fest, and everybody has been ranting about how they don't want a hype fest. They just want the content that's actually coming.
Mm-hmm.
And Pearl Abyss literally did that. They had a Calpheon Ball that was about content they actually have in the works and have like basically dates for, and it's coming as soon as they can get it out. And there wasn't any extraneous, just, hey guys, this is a cool idea, right? What if we did that? And that was like it, right? This is all realistic prospects, and I like that. I mean, as much as I love a hype fest, they did what the players wanted, and then people still were mad, which is weird. But
Oh, I was gonna be mad.
I think people are gonna be mad no matter what, so it's like whatever.
Upvotes are just how many downvotes the thing really should have. That's what it really is on Reddit.
Yeah.
The angrier they are about it, the more upvotes it gets. That's the way I see it.
Like in terms of the content was freaking amazing, right? Like you had you had the new zone. You had where they were saying that they wanted to make the spots, less about grinding in circles. So you have like the insect caves or tunnels where it's like, okay, you have different people doing different things in different rooms to spawn the insect queen. You have like the horde mode thing, sort of like the Stars and Towers, where you trigger and like the hordes of mobs just keep flooding in. You have the Yetis with like the chain reaction fire explosions with like the little blue wisps that are around the area. You have the roaming Snow Guardian, right? That with like the dynamic weather effects depending on where she's at. Like she channels a blizzard in the area. Like a lot of the stuff they showed was freaking awesome. And then the thought of like artifacts being the main draw to the new region, that you can only get them there. So there's something to grind for that's not just silver based. I think the stuff that they showed was so awesome. And I think the biggest thing that kind of made me feel weird or kind of feel down was the fact that we're probably going to have to wait 6 months.
6 to 8.
Yeah, because they were like, we're hoping that it comes out to everyone else in the first half of 2022, but Korea gets it in 2 weeks. So that's what the thing that like the content was amazing, but us divulging back to like when we were waiting for Odie and Dregan and all them waiting, half a year to a year for a new region.
Dregan was like a year.
Weird. Yeah,
and it wasn't exciting when it came out, which was that's why it sucked. Like
it's frustrating for them to say winter 2021 and then it not come out winter 2021 for everybody because of translation. Because like if they just said KR's coming out winter 2021, it would have been more fair. So it feels weird. It also feels weird that like I really wish they would just translate items and then just let us have Korean text and sound, and then we just work from there. Because if we can have it that way, then we wouldn't have less of a problem. Because players just want to play it, not see another region play for 4 or 5 months while it gets translated.
Yep.
Because by the time it gets translated, we don't even care anymore.
Yeah, I mean, especially because like those people that if you're around Twitch or the internet, it's impossible to not have something spoiled within 6 months. Like you can do your due diligence and avoid as much as you can, but especially if you like stream or just are on around Twitch or around Reddit or anything like that, like it's impossible to avoid all spoilers within 6 months and like have it where you don't figure out like everything indirectly,
Yep. For catching people who might not be on the page and haven't watched Calpheon Ball, basically they announced the Mountain Eternal. How do you say it?
Mountain of Eternal Winter.
There you go. A Mountain of Eternal Winter. It's going to have 4 grind spots. One is going to be like a solo dungeon with a few mobs in it. One is going to be like Mari Cave or Stars and Towers, where you basically have to defend the tower from the monsters trying to attack it. And then there's going to be 2 normal grind spots. One where it's going to be like pill bugs, like Kerr was saying earlier. And then it's going to have a group boss you have to fight. It's going to be a group boss. So if you and like 3 other people are grinding the location as solo players and the boss spawns, you can all converge and actually go and fight the group boss, which I think is a really, really nice change of pace. And then the final one was the Yeti spot or the Ginshi.
Oh, wait. Yeah, we also got the little escape room thing with like where you do complete different puzzles and open like the treasure room or the gold room or whatever they called it.
It's supposed to be based around a golden dragon. So there's a quest in Odolita, where a golden dragon hatches out of an egg. And I think they were originally going to make this a world boss or something. They didn't really. They said it originally in, what was it? Calpheon Ball, no, Hydo Ball 2020, like a year and a half ago, right? And it basically told us about it, but we thought it was going to be a world boss at the time. So it's going to be something related to like a yellow dragon that spawns an Odolita, or that like, it has a questline Odolita. So we'll have to see. It seems to me it's going to be like a miniature dungeon, but solo player. That's what it kind of feels like to me. So I'm kind of curious to see what it ends up being, because it's going to be new.
Yeah, I agree. What do you guys know about localization? Because I don't know a lot about it, but I've seen localization thrown around as an excuse a lot, right? Like Amazon used the same reason. Oh, we can't release Lost Ark in August because localization, so we're gonna wait.
I feel like that's the easy excuse. I mean, I don't make games, but I feel like it's the easy excuse to come out, because then they can't really take responsibility. Especially for, like, there's literally, the game is already out in, like, Russia with an English patch for Lost Ark, which is a joke.
So localization normally takes a lot more time when there's a voiceover involved, and that's what they're doing in Lost Ark. Is they actually have a voiceover for literally the entire main storyline, and I think a lot of people would just prefer to have the game launched, like you said, in like Korean, both for Lost Ark and for BDO, right? Launch the new content right away with English subtitles, and then later on patch in the English version.
Patch in the English, dude, because translation is not why I play the video game. I'm not playing for cutscene language information, and if that's why content's being delayed, it's just gonna, like, people are just gonna be upset, because it's like, I mean, I'm sure some players care about it, and they can get that content as soon as it's out. There's no reason to delay the actual content for a majority of players because of some voice acting.
Yeah, I think there's two different strategies for it. One is you delay it because you delay it for Korea and you release everything when everything is ready, right? And the second strategy is you release it in Korean, but you have English subtitles and everybody gets it at the same time, but earlier, right? I don't really care which it is. I just want everybody to get it at the same time. I'm just so tired of getting things way too late. And the reason we say 8 months, by the way, if people who don't know, is they announced previously with Odolita, it released in Korea, and it took them 8 months to localize it for NAEU. And they say their goal is to make it shorter this time than 8 months, but that's why it took them last time, was 8 months. So it means at the earliest we get it August? What month is that?
Dude, I hope not.
Well, they said
Eternal Winter and Summer. Ugh.
I'm really hoping we're not getting Eternal Winter and Summer. I hope what they're doing right now is they're debating us. I really hope that they're like, oh, guys, it's going to be like 6 months, and then we're going to get like a January release or something. We're going to like a February, March release. I really would not like them to plan it around Lost Ark. I'd like them to either launch it in January or in March, like not on top of Lost Ark, because it'd be so disappointing, but
now, one thing that they have here is they basically announced with the Mountain of Eternal Winter, they're going to have a new player start zone. And because of that, I think they should release it with a new season. Even if it's going to release a little later, I think they should at least wait for the next season and start it with the next season.
That's why March seems so likely, right?
Yeah.
Because that would be the new season, I think.
So if they can release it in March, I would still be upset about being delayed, but it would not be as bad as 6 months, and that would make me happier. So... yeah, we'll see. I think that might greatly depend on how bad they're getting crushed by Lost Ark by that point.
Yeah, I'm really just hoping they I don't know. I really wish companies were like more aware of each other, especially when we're talking about a game like Lost Ark is not a roller coaster MMO, but it's like content based on content release dates versus BDO. It's like if a new expansion comes out, yeah, I'm sure people want to play it, but like I'm not gonna not play a new MMO over a BDO like expansion that's not even like there's no raid gear content. There's no new thing that I've got to race for, right? Like there's nothing like that. It's time based. Whereas Lost Ark, it's like every minute until you hit your lockout caps is very, very important. It's just very different in BDO. So I'd really be disappointed if they dropped their release on the same times, but I mean they're gonna do whatever they want to do.
Mm-hmm. They announced several new items. They announced the Debreka belt to be coming out with Odolita, Crypto Resting Thoughts, which I think is a perfect addition. They announced Labresca helmet, which is going to be like a Fallen God helmet, but they're calling it Labresca helmet. And then they announced artifacts, which are going to be two new gear sockets, which are going to be underneath your ring and your earring. And we'll have to see what these will end up being, but they seem like they're going to be able to customize them, like sort of like you combine jewelry with gems, so you'll be able to customize them with certain stats. I'm curious about it, but I want to know like a little bit more. Like I like what they've told us, but there's a lot more they haven't told us that could also be bad about it, right? Like,
Yeah.
they could make it where you have to enhance them to try, like gems to try, and then you have to use artist memories to repair it. I don't know. Like there could be some bad stuff.
It seems interesting. I think it will give us some much needed gear diversity that we don't really have nowadays,
Yeah.
right? Because nowadays your real diversity comes between your cups you put in your gear, which the blue cups are massively better than the yellow cups in most situations. And then you have like crystal diversity, right? Like DR builds have a lot more crystal like leeway to mix it up, but like with evasion, you're kind of pigeonholed into the four hoon set and stuff like that,
right?
In a lot of situations. So I think those crystals are going to be really nice because the way they explained it, that you could get some pretty neat combinations, like an extra 20% BSR, so you can have self-generated 200%. Different like ways to augment abilities. I said some of the crystals will like augment / change some of your abilities
Oh
and
my
things like
gosh,
that.
please.
So I think it's gonna. It seems to be on paper from what they showed and explained a way to bring back some form of build diversity instead of like what we've had for so long, right? Where it's like, okay, everything's sort of figured out, and that's nice.
That would be really cool if you could have like, instead of having the whole skill enhancement system, right? You have like these artifacts that just like augment your ability into like a new succession. Like imagine you could pick a brand new succession ability, any of them, and you could just pick one, right, and augment it into a succession version. I think that could be really cool. I really like that. That reminds me a lot of like Diablo 3, where you can put on like a legendary and it changes the entire way you play.
Did they show what kind of stats some of them have?
Yeah, the ones that were on the screen had 150 health and 8% like ignore resistance or resistance or something.
Yeah, and then
Is there an accuracy
20% BSR for
they
having
talked about some of the options being on those accuracy, evasion, different stuff like that. So the potential's there, but until we really see it, we can't confirm that. Oh yeah, because if they're adding accuracy and evasion, then it just allows like more options for that.
Right.
Same thing if they're adding
cool.
HP, then like what's the alternative for the HP crystal? And then it seemed like the artifacts naturally just have 10% BSR to like finish off that build to generate the BSR. I don't know if that's a unique trait too. So I don't know. Like there's the artifact and then there's the crystals in the artifact. And I'm not sure if there's going to be variations of the artifact itself and the crystals or just the crystals and you get the artifact.
That's the way I understood it. I understood it that you have different kinds of artifacts that have different effects on themselves. Then they come from doing different things in the new region. And then you had different kinds of crystals that you can slot into those artifacts and enhance for different effects.
I feel like they only talked about 2 grind spots and then a puzzle room. I don't know how they're going to fit the millions of types of loot into 2 grind spots, but I mean, I think there's a 3rd grind spot they didn't talk about. And then there's also that giant rock ogre area. I mean, the potential is great, but until we see it,
I kind of assume what it's going to be is they're going to combine it with like current BMCs or like other useless crystals that are in the game. Sort of like what they did with Stars In and that crystal, right? You get the crit crystal and you combine it with the new gem and then Forest Furies, and voila, you have a brand new thing. And so they might be doing something like that where you can combine the new crystal drop with like a variety of different crystals to make different options. So, but we'll have to see. You know, there's a lot we don't know.
Yeah, there was a lot of not raw actual information versus like, this is kind of the idea, guys. Take a look.
Yeah. It seems like they were trying to make it simple, so for people who have no idea what BDO even is could understand it.
Yeah, 100%.
And I do think that's good, right?
Yeah,
that's good. Like kind of under like praise it or under explain
Right.
it, and then like once it hits us, okay, it's like, oh, this is way more in depth than we thought. That's nice,
Yeah.
right? There's more
'Cause
diversity here. So
I like that where you under promise and over deliver, right? Where you go into the game and then you're like, this is I'm kind of curious what this is, and then you try it out and you're like, this is insane, like this is game changing. Like that's the type of feeling I want to have when going in there, like kind of unsure at the beginning, and then it comes out and you're just like, this is amazing, right? I
Yeah.
really like the ideas they have. It feels like they are listening to veteran players for how they're developing new content, which I kind of like. Because this seems like that type of content that veteran players would be excited for, and that's, I think, they
And
developed the
it's-
whole area for us. Really, it feels like.
and any new form of progression,
Yeah,
like to get anything new.
And I think they struck like a middle ground between not purely just veterans, but also new in the sense that like now they kind of added a. So like, what do you think about them making it so that Duvenkroon is now a viable start zone? Like that kind of threw me for a loop. I was like, how is that gonna work?
Well,
That's like different. I didn't see that.
I
one
think it
coming
entirely
in.
comes down to how they do it. I think the starting zone is only one piece of the problem, right? Because the quest line is obviously boring, right? It's way too long. It's not enough cutscenes. It's not cohesive. So if they can fix that, where you fight, you're going with Jordan on the story, I think that's kind of good, right? But like another part of it is like a new player logs into the game, right? Oh, Bombay, you're breaking up.
Hello?
Is it me or is it Bombay? Everybody's frozen on my screen.
Hello.
I think it's on my end. All right, I see you guys all moving and the cameras are working. Can you hear me?
Hello.
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, awesome. What were we saying?
I was just saying that like most of the like start zone has always been like a spam art quest line, walk here, walk there, and it immediately it takes you to Valley as soon as you kill like 5 monsters. So if it's just like an introduction to understand, I guess, whatever lore or world it's putting you into as a new player, just so that you don't feel left out of the content, that's cool. But I'm guessing it's gonna actually like probably transport you back to some normal quest areas because it can't keep you in Dragon or the new area for too long because then it's like
You can't kill anything with no. gear,
yeah,
right?
there's nothing. Yeah,
Like Shira's would be the easiest thing you could kill with the new start or in that area, right? But like,
I mean, they could do an instance server, right? Where it's just
yeah,
sure.
I guess they could do instance because
I mean-
they did say that they have the personal server thing, like system up
oh
and
yeah, the
running.
personal server.
yeah.
I just think that the concept is like when they introduce a new expansion, there's no one that can really experience it other than people that have already gone through the process. This new expansion, all players can access it, right? All brand new players get to click the new quest line and experience the new story mode, right? And that sounds good on paper for people to come play the game.
Well, I think one thing to be really clear about is the snow region, the Mountain of Eternal Winter, is not the Duvenkroon. And so if you look on the map right now and pull up the map, you can go over to territory and it'll break down all Duvenkroon in the blue, and you can actually see that Duvenkroon has been extended far to the south of what we currently have. And there's a brand new area there. And I think the entire quest line is just going to go through there with brand new areas with like level 5 mobs, level 25 mobs, level 30 mobs, level 50 mobs, and players will just be able to go through there and level up, I think. And
That's a good point.
Yeah, and at the very end of the Calpheon Ball, we actually saw that they were going to do a quest line in Dragon, right? It looked like your Dragon at least, that had level 56 mob in it for like the final level up quest.
So where Dragon Sword moms come from?
And then I think from there, if assuming they give you good gear along the process, you could just go from there right into Tisha Ruins and start grinding a little bit. And I think that there you go to Medea and grind. So I think it's possible at the very least. We'll have to see what they end up doing, but I definitely think that, and it also explains how we connect to the snow region, because we had no connection to the snow region before they add the Duvenkroon area there. So it'll be Duvenkroon in my opinion, and then they'll carve into the snow region where we have the 2 or 3 new grind spots with the dragon thing. So I think it'll be pretty neat. I think they've played this pretty well if it's the way I think it is.
Yeah, like I'm really looking forward to experience it. It's more so just like the bad. It just I don't know. It just going back to the whole Korean supremacy thing just feels it just feels in bad faith. Honestly, like I don't know because I have this picture in my mind, right, of like what the translation process looks like, but I don't. I like you honestly there's no way that they're waiting until everything is completely done then starting to translate to other languages, right? Like
Yeah.
there's no way, right? You would think they would do
Do it
it
as you
as you
go.
go, exactly,
Yeah.
right? Like you'd think they
Like,
would
why wouldn't that
translate
be
as you
easier?
go, but I could
Yeah.
be wrong, dude. I don't know. That's why I feel like translation when these big companies use that as an excuse, it just feels so weird to me.
I think they're just doing everything in Korean, right? And then they're just doing it like anime, where they say, "Hey, here's the voice lines," and they send it to a third party, and the third party is like, "Well, we'll hire some good actors for you," and then they convert it after it's already been in Japanese for a month already, right? And then it gets to dub. So I think they're just doing it like as a post mortem type thought, rather than a proactive like we have a guy who speaks English in the studio type thing. And I think that's why it's causing this, because I think there's I don't know. It's unfortunate, but I think that's how they're doing it. So what part of the new update are you guys excited most for?
Snowboarding.
Snowboarding?
You know how much I just AFK and do nothing and walk around? Like, now I can snowboard down hills while I'm bored?
Really hope they have like a ski lift or some kind of
dude, a trolley, not a trolley, but
they don't have a trolley would work. If they don't have a trolley or an elevator or something, dude, it's gonna be so miserable trying to
Dude,
get over
I'm looking forward to community ski races or snowboard racing. Like that's pretty.
As long as we can auto walk up the stairs to get back up to the top, I think it'll be great.
There's like tricks too, right?
I want them to do the Marty's Lab balloon and take me all the way to the winter region, and then you can escape the winter region back down the mountain if you want to on the snowboard, right? So then you can just repeat it over and over again. That's what I want. Do crew in the snow region, snowboard back down, do it again.
The thing I'm most excited for was whatever those big rock ogre guys are. I'm praying they're not just a quest monster or just an auto one-shot kill monster.
I low-key want those to be like a new grind spot that they didn't tell us about, right? Like it's like a secret grind spot.
Man.
So you go in there, and then new players see you killing them, but they're not strong enough to kill them themselves, right? And so they have to sneak around to all different points, and they see veteran players occasionally in there grinding, trying to get an ogre ring or something from them,
Yeah, I really like the concept. When we were watching it, and I was sitting in a Discord with some friends, I was like, "Oh shoot, those are some big dudes." And then he got a little closer. I'm like, whoa, those are like really big guys. And then he got all the way up to him. And I'm like, holy shiz, these things are massive. These are not just like an ogre. This thing is fucking, oh my God, he can see his foot and that's it, dude. That's crazy. So I was like freaking out. Like a Shadow of the Colossus style fight where you DPS him, he puts his fist down, someone grabs onto his fist and you climb up on his back and start DPSing him while you got your party members holding him or something. Just anything. They talked about doing more strategy, so I'm really interested in what they consider strategy. Because after Olin's, and it's, in my opinion, perfection of a good grind spot that rewards effort because of the push and pull mechanic.
I'd fucking love like something with Olan-esque mechanics, but it's a 5-man spot. Because like I know I said this last week, but it's literally been 3 years since we got our last 5-man grind spot. Like think about that for a second.
I think they understand the complexity of getting a 5-man grind spot, especially nowadays. Yeah, like efficiency-wise, getting 5 people to like if Olin's is a 5-man, getting 5 people to get the elixirs, like holy cow! It's already hard enough getting people to buy the ones that are sold out on pre-order max at 70,000.
Yeah, but is that not like an economic issue in the sense that they introduce a 5-man grind spot and then fix the market caps so where they actually go where they should be valued at. So then Alchemy gets buffed indirectly, and we get a 5-man spot.
I would definitely love that. That would be fantastic if they could adjust the market prices to be more appropriate to the value of the item. I completely agree. I would love something like that because, like, again, strategically speaking, like with the mechanics and stuff, even stuff like Sikr Kia had just insane mechanics, but yet still a doable fight with enough effort and work put into it. And if they continue to do these like crazy tactical spots with like grind mechanics, I don't know. I think the potential is really high for just more fun because Olin's is I've done almost 1,000 hours of Olin's at this point, and it's still one of my favorite grind spots in the game. It's fun, it's rewarding, it's money, and it's just a cool grind spot. It's better than turning my brain off for 900 hours.
Yeah, I want to see more mechanics and grind spots. I want them to be very creative with it. Like, imagine like there's a bandit group roaming the streets of Duvenkroon, right? Or Driegen. So you have to run around Driegen and find where the bandits are at and then kill them. And then they spawn again in some other random place. So you have to keep running around and your group finds them. You have to go kill them again. I think like there's a lot of creative things they could do with that kind of thing, right? Where it doesn't have to be just go to a spot and kill some mobs, or it can be go to a spot and then like I would just like to see. I want to see like a raid tier level of grind spot though. I want to see a grind spot that is as difficult as a raid. We have to get like 5 people together. They all have their own thing. There's like 20 different mechanics. You have to keep, you have to make sure you're killing the tree in time. You have to like jump on this puddle and you have to kill the other thing in time. Like, I don't know, dodge this. Like, I want to see something that's a grind spot that you do for hours on end. And you just determine how long you want to do it for, right? That's actually just extremely challenging. That's just the grind spot. That's what I want to see. I think this is a huge step in the right direction. I'm curious what the Yeti is going to have. The Yeti and Pillbug. I think the Pillbug grind spot is probably my favorite one of the ones they're looking forward to, just because as a group boss, but it's a solo grind spot. I think that's such a cool addition.
Yeah, I like the concept of like a reverse abandoned monastery where it's like you're just doing the spot and you don't want anybody to come leech, and then this is like you're doing the spot and you want everybody to come leech so that everybody can get loot from the boss. I like the idea.
They updated a few more things they said they were on the way. They talked about 3 different classes, maybe 2. It depends on how you interpret what they said. They confirmed the Wukong class was in development, but they said they weren't going to announce the class. And they also said that the Rudum class that they announced in Untitled Ball 2019 is still in the back room and being developed, just like Wukong. I think they were kind of using that as like a justification for why Wukong's not being announced, right?
I mean, it's good though, right? We've been begging for them not to release a class. Like,
yeah, I agree.
Please stop releasing classes. And they're like, okay, guys, we're not releasing any classes. Like, holy shiz, no way.
I was so happy, dude. Because
thank God.
So many people have been like, yo, or do you think we're getting a new class with the season? I'm like, no, thank God we are, bro. Finally.
Right. With all the
I feel bad because new players love it, but
yeah, it's so scary.
All the time, don't.
I was a little convinced it was going to be a Wukong class because just like Corsair got leaked ahead of time, Sage got leaked, something about Nova got leaked ahead of time. Like the last 3 or 4 classes have all had leaks like way ahead of time.
I think what they definitely did was they were like, wow, someone leaked the data from the mobile client for our new class. Let's throw them for the loop. Let's say we're not creating any classes, and let's just give them a giant sword dragon mom teaser. And say this is what we're doing, like because they knew they pay attention to the Reddit. They know what people are like paying attention to. So I feel like they literally just like silhouetted some thing that they're working on, and they're like, all right, let's see them try to guess this one, dude.
It's a DK costume. That's what a lot of people.
Yeah, right. I mean, honestly, it's actually what it looked like. That's why I was
that
like,
would be a bamboozle if that is just a DK costume.
Give me another one.
Class.
Literally, what it looked like was a costume. I was like,
yo, speaking of DK, so the price of the DK costume gets revealed in like 4 hours or something like that. The statue, I mean, not the cost. How much do you guys think the DK statue is going to go for?
600.
I think some people were telling me like 200, then some people were like 500, some people were like 1,000. I'm like, geez, dude, like
some people in my chat were looking at prices on the website, and almost all of them are like around 1,000. And some of them even have less features than the current DK statue does. So,
200 sounds appropriate, but I feel like they'll bump it to 3 to 5 just because they know people will buy it.
It's like a
22. It's 1,000.
It's a 22-inch statue.
26-inch tall statue.
It's
huge. A 2-foot tall statue.
26-inch tall Dark Knight statue with details and light elements.
Yeah,
that's a big
that's a
statue.
big statue. Someone told me they're gonna put
It's
that on their
really
end
big.
table, and I was like, no way you're putting that on your end table. They're gonna be like, what's this porn you have on your end table here? I didn't know you were into that. That DK statue though, there's gonna be a lot of those sold with it.
Yeah, I've had a lot of people freaking out about it. They're like, okay, I'm saving up money already. I'm like, really?
I don't get it either.
want more merch from BDO, but I can't see myself spending that kind of money on. I mean, you say that, but then the same people that say that spent like way more on pearls.
Yeah, we buy loot scrolls.
Yeah, right. I think my lips are not swelling anymore.
I think it'd be cool if like I could have imported my template onto the figurine.
Yes, if they could do custom imports, that would make it, I think, worth value. Because then you
I
feel
would
like
probably
it's
get it.
a character, right?
Yeah.
That would be sick if they would just
All
adjust.
right, listen, dude. That's a
Okay.
business idea. Okay, listen. 3D. So we just need a 3D printer,
Plus,
and people can pay you to 3D print their character.
and it's just like a face clip on, like you design the face, and you
Yeah.
clip
Just
it
the
on to the
face.
regular DK, right? I mean, that's what they do for like World of Warcraft and other games. Literally, people like pay companies to like just do a 3D printout of their character on like a little statuette thing, and that's a real thing, and it makes a lot of money because people love they get attached to their characters they've played for X amount of years,
Mm-hmm. I do think that the DK statue itself, the face looks very lifeless. Like it looks like a dead person took a photo of them or something.
That was my main complaint with it.
But it is dead. It's a statue.
Yes, that's true.
Okay, I'm just memeing, but I get what you mean. I'm just memeing, dude.
Good man, some angry people.
No, but I think it'll be good. I think they're going to make a lot of money off of it for sure.
I just wish that they had like different sizes. I want like a small size, a medium size, and a large size. Like premium size, like 2 feet, that's like $1,000, right? And then give me a small one that's like $200, and give me like a tiny one that's like a, I don't know, chibi statue or something that's like 2 inches or something like that. That I can just put on my desk for like $15, because I'm broke.
Yeah, exactly. Dude,
What-
that would be pretty sick, honestly.
What they said they were going to redo the ping system where now you're going to have different options. Do you know what the options were?
Oh my god, I can't wait, dude. That looks so
I
cool.
think compared it to Apex. Was it Apex? I don't know.
Oh, is that what
I
that
didn't take a screenshot, but hey, any update on the ping system so I can spam question mark, question mark, question mark
so many different options, dude.
when someone drops my merchant ring and I just spam question mark, question mark, question mark ping. Oh, it's gonna be great. Like, what the frick, man?
I hope it's like League where you can like customize your emote type thing, right? You can buy
would be
different ones.
shit.
Yeah. Charge me like $5 to go and buy a whole bunch of different ones. Just make a whole bunch of them. That's all
That'd
I
be
want.
cool.
Yeah.
It'd be cool to have more emotes.
I feel like the idea of the emotes in chat just doesn't quite satisfy because it feels disconnected from the game. I need something that makes it where my character does a little.
Well, yeah, most people block their chats. Some people don't even have world chat or channel chat up. They have guild chat, party chat, and /say, and that's it.
Oh, that's what I have.
Like,
I've never seen the other ones.
I've had all chats open all the time. The only time I block like people is if they spam 20 messages a day and I can't see the content in world chat. I have everything up all the time. I read everything.
The only thing I block is just guild message spam, guild recruitment spam.
Yeah. Those are the
Other
ones.
than that, whatever.
Yeah.
One thing I think they actually did a pretty good job with is they're adding a new menu for skill add-ons. Pretty.
Yeah. So you can
I didn't see that.
You can look at it. Yeah, it's a third tab in your K menu. I love that because like there's no way to see it accurately unless you're at the vendor and like going to the
Can
vendor.
I change it like without going to someone with the Secret Book of Old Moon?
Oh,
No,
that
I
will be a
think
feature soon for sure.
Oh god.
I am so good at pro shop
If
ideas.
you have a like a person that won like the AOA stuff or the like Unrivaled or Ghost or whatever, you can change your skeletons at them, right? If you're going with it.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's just a way to view them without being at the vendor. Because going to the vendor just to show your add-ons, how many
That's
times I
true.
get asked, and then it's like, I don't know if my add-ons that I put in my chat are like old, or if they're up to date, or like if it, dude, I don't remember anything. So it's like, yeah, just do that command in chat. I don't know. Now I can just pop it up and say like, yeah, I'm working on this, trying this out. Especially with the new reworks, it'll be really nice to quick reference, you know.
Yeah, I hope that actually comes out with the reworks. That'd be actually a good. If it comes out later, I think that'd be a little missed opportunity there because it's so convenient to be able to look at your skill add-ons whenever and to just be like, these are my PvE ones, these are my PvP ones, and this is, you know, be able to talk about it. The one thing I'm a little concerned with is I think the UI is just getting too complicated. I feel like you need to unlock some of the UI elements as you level up or something. Like, I don't know, a new player opening up the K menu and you're like, there's like
dude, you hit level 10 and the whole UI opens up.
Yeah, just
like I was
pops on
helping
your
a friend
screen.
yesterday like start the game, and he's like, "What is this?" It is just the whole UI going through.
You hit 10 and then like 20 things pop on your screen. You're like, what
You
the
see the
fuck?
Tuvala enhancements at the top, like it's
and then
much.
you hit 16 and then it turns nighttime all of a sudden because like then you can see the cycles. You're like, what is going on with my game?
Dude, I forgot about that.
Oh my god, it's the funniest thing, dude.
It's
I love
overwhelming.
it. It's just very. At least there's a lot of old things that are just piled on from the past. I really feel like they should clean up the new like interface because like literally, I mean, there is just so much unnecessary stuff.
Yep. I feel like they need to go through and they needed to have a goal of removing half the UIs, right? Like combine my I menu, right, into my P menu, right? So when I press I, it pulls up the P menu and it's a little tab there at the very top that has a bag and it has my gear in there and my items in there, you know? Like simplify it down where there's less total menus, right? You know, combine like the pet menu, the your worker menu, and your maid menu together or something. You know, like there's some things like that where they simplify them down. Like make it where in your K menu don't see the awakening tab and stuff in succession until you're 56. Like some really really basic things like that where it's just hidden. Or as you level up, you unlock like more of your skills. So you only see like maybe 3 skills at the very beginning when you're level 1, and maybe when you're level 20, then you unlock another 3 or something. You know. Like it's just too much. Like I'm really, really disappointed with them not addressing that because they've done so many new player things that have been really beneficial. I'm not the biggest fan of Tuvala, but it has helped out new players enjoy the game more, right? Even I can admit that.
Yeah, I think that at some point, if they were to redo it, they make it really bare bones. But then, like once you hit 56, they're like, "All right, here's the options to edit your UI. Here's all the different things, and there you go." Like. Because I do feel like it's overloaded at the start, whereas if you want that stuff, like I know people that do have just a cluttered UI and they like it that way, and it makes them, you know, they just like that.
They're always like, I just like seeing everything. You're like, I can't stand it, bro.
I also like having less frames in this video game.
Yeah. There it is, yo.
Well, I mean,
that's another thing
right?
they should fix.
You PvP a lot, a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I grind a lot, and like having like less frames, like from all the UI, it's at least to me super noticeable. So like even for like grinding outside of PvP, I don't like the clutter, and I don't like the loss of performance.
Yeah, I like them giving us more options, but I think making it the way it is now, where it's like, okay, you have the ability to turn more things on and off, right? Like sort of how like when they start you in the game, you have the new updated HP bar that like takes up the entire top left of your screen, right? But you can like go to the old minimal HP bar where it's like smaller. Like I think adding more options is nice. Like making so you can use the new ping system, but if you don't want to, you don't have to use it, but you can still see others' pings and things like that. Like
like muting pings
yeah,
from certain people specifically.
I think making it more modular is the real play, where it's like, okay, you can customize it and turn things off and on as you please.
It should do that with a lot of stuff, like besides just UI.
I think the idea of modularization generally comes from though like bad ideas in the first place, right? And I think a lot of things they could avoid having to make it more modular, which I think typically hurts performance in the long run, right? Being able to because if you have like 20 different objects on screen and they all have their own unique way of being turned on and off, that's a lot more running on your PC. But I think a lot of things like that new HP bar, I would be totally fine with that if I could move it around where I wanted to move it. If it was like a third of the size it currently is, because it's massive. And so like some simple like really thinking about what players really want out of an HP bar and like what they want to see there. Like I just want to see the information in a very condensed menu, right? I don't need to see my entire top left of my screen and take it up. So I feel like they could really improve both on like giving people new options, but also simplifying what they currently have to what people actually want. Because I think there's a lot of things that are just bloat.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I can see that.
Who's your favorite person in the Untitled Ball? Well, the announcers and the people and the everybody that's involved in the broadcast. Who's your favorite person?
My man Armin was playing valet. I would have picked Armin otherwise.
Oh, really?
They had it. They had him doing valet. That's why he wasn't on the broadcast. What's his name, dude? The
Alejandro.
Alejandro. I think the same guy you were gonna.
He was my favorite guy. Oh my god, I loved Alejandro. He was just so funny.
So Alejandro was the guy that was with Inlave and Lemuria, right?
Yeah, he was the guy to the left translating.
Yeah, the translator to the left with Inlave and Lemuria. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like he sums up the Korean developers really well with the way he reacts to everything. He's like, man, that lady on stream, she's so fine, isn't she? You're just like, wait.
Oh no!
I don't know why, but I find her so lovely. Oh my god! And then Enlay was just like,
this gave him the look.
like, and then Lemuria just is like smiling.
And then Inlave was like, when the lawn cosplay popped up, he's like, man, those are some nice glaives. Like, sure, bro, sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, glaives.
Definitely the glaives.
That guy was too funny. Oh man, I enjoyed him really well.
If you guys missed the Calpheon Ball, they have it live streamed on BDO console YouTube, so you can go find that there if you missed that. And there's plenty of YouTubers who have summarized it all up. But there was it's about 4.5 hours. It was like really, really long this time or something, wasn't it?
Dude, I saw that your little summary video was like popping off, dude.
Okay, it was really long because they did a live Q&A with live translation, and there were so many people so bored. But it's like, dude, this is literally what people have been begging for. Like, people have been asking to be able to ask questions to PA and get like an actual response that doesn't feel scripted, that doesn't feel like it's a plant. And they literally live translated everything, except for that one Red Fox question that the people from SA, they couldn't get their thing translated. That was awkward.
That is the reason that I don't believe them when they say that translation issues is the reason why we're going to have to wait 6 to 8 months to get the new content. Because think about it, right? They literally did a live show where they were translating people's questions and answers live between like 8 different languages on the fly using fucking Zoom, bro. Like, how are you going to tell me that it's going to take you 6 to 8 months to get the content to everybody else when you just did a Zoom where you were translating from Japanese to English to Korean, then from English to Spanish to Korean, then from Korean to English and all this other stuff? Like, how can you say that translation is the reason? You know what I mean?
I feel like if they're using translation as an excuse, it's because it's not their main priority, right? Mm-hmm. Like, the language translation is something that some guy does when he's finished with all of his other work, and then he's like, all right, let's double check and see if everything was translated right. And that's like, he does it for a very small portion. That's what it feels like anyways, because it doesn't make sense. Like, if you're translating 12 hours a day, there's a lot of content I feel like you can get through.
You know,
especially when there's a lot of dialogue, but
I bet another thing that's going to happen is they're going to take the Korean player base feedback and be like, oh, they didn't like Quest 3, 8, 20, and 50. We're going to redo those, and then instead of translating them twice, they probably just change them, and then translate them one time, right? And I think it's probably what they do, like little weird changes like that. So they wouldn't wait until like the last minute.
Yeah, I think Korea is mostly just being the beta test ground. For example, today they're doing an emergency maintenance in Korea to adjust some of the class damage percentages and shit.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're doing. I think it might be happening.
69 Warrior was like one-shotting a 500 DP person.
It might be happening right now as we speak, or it might be in a couple hours. But yeah, they're doing like an emergency maintenance today, and I imagine that it's to tweak some of the rework shit that like made it
translate over well.
Man, I can't believe how bad that was. You could tell people, like, just by looking at some of the numbers, they're like, why did you buff Lawn, Blooming Nether by 10 or 15% or whatever that was? Like, the strongest skill on Lawn.
Yeah, watch this one guy that I watched for Zerker stuff, and he did Succession, Zerker, and Underwater like he's been doing for a while. He didn't really clear that much faster, which was kind of disappointing because it's like supposed to be getting a lot of damage, I feel like. So I don't know if just Sakraya just felt capped or whatnot, but seeing him make basically the same amount of trash and speed at like capped gear was kind of disappointing. I was like, oh no.
One thing
When
to
you go to the classes getting these massive buffs, I'm like, uh-oh.
Yo, did you see that they slapped a 50% PvP damage reduction on Zerker Claws?
Yeah, people,
That
Danny
shit
was
was
pretty upset about
it's
that.
so weird. It's like, bro, no
It's like
one
literally the
even
only way.
plays that spec except Danny for PvP.
Yeah, that's like the only way I get kills when I'm just fooling around. I'll just pop claws at Garmoth and just start slapping alts. And it's like, okay, cool, I got some kills. And now it's like, oh, fun's gone. Okay. No more
yeah.
fun.
I guess we can jump into the reworks a little bit more. Before we do, I want to recap some of the things we missed for the Calpheon Ball. And if you guys want to jump in and talk about some of this stuff, then we can. There's 4 items: Deboreka belt at Crypto Wrestling Thoughts, artifacts. They're doing the Labreska helmet, which is Fallen God helmet, and the one we did not mention was Black Star offhand. Which is going to be like Kudum 2.0, slightly better.
Yeah, it's kind of that was kind of bittersweet with me. Where
Slightly, I feel like I was talking with some friends, and other than like getting it just so it looks good in your character sheet, I feel like the only reason you'd want to go for it is because they might introduce a 3-set bonus that you get when you get the Kudum with Black Star.
I think that might be the saving grace.
Because
Yeah.
right now, as the stats currently stand, if you have a Pen Kudum, there's no reason you should be going from a 10 bill Pen Kudum to a 100 bill Black Star offhand when you're gaining like virtually no difference in stats, especially when you just load Kaffers in it. And then you'd be like, well, there's no Kaffers in the market. It's like, okay, go grind Olin to make like 1,000 an hour, like whatever. Okay.
Yep.
You know, so it's like really odd that like that's a thing that they're promoting. Now, if they introduce a 3 set that you only get when you equip the Kudum, then it makes it like 100% worth it. But it just doesn't have enough stats to be like, yeah, go for it. Because people are already offset by Black Star because like they get Tet, they get the Obsidian, and then they still got to click for Pen, which is a really low chance, and it's not fun to click. It's like a miserable experience for a lot of people because like the guaranteed gear system only promotes old boss gear but doesn't promote the new stuff, and it's a really awkward experience as a whole. But if they add the 3-set bonus, that would make it.
I
Real
feel
good.
like the Black Star offhand is a huge missed opportunity because, I mean, what's going to happen when they do Fallen God helmet, gloves, and boots? Everybody's going to be like, what about Fallen God main hand? What about Fallen God offhand? What about Fallen God awakening weapon? And then you're like, well, do I really want to consider going for a Pim Black Star that has the exact same stats as my Kudum when I know it's going to be a Fallen God coming around the corner?
Fallen God when I already have a seat. Yeah. That's like the other thing is like I feel like the way that it seems like the path of progression is they want Black Star weapons to be the finale, and then Fallen God armor to be how they conglomerate the builds back to a singular build, and then through artifacts you can gain DR, resistance, evasion, accuracy, all these substats to then customize your build. So you don't feel like you're losing your identity as an evasion class when you go to DR build because all the new stuff's DR and the artifacts are the way that you actually keep your custom build, right? I feel like that's the like what they're going for. Because until we get more information on unless they're going to do a 2-set of boots and gloves, which I don't think they're going to based on the trend, it's going to be the artifacts. It's how we customize our stats now, which is cool if it works. Just it depends on how they implement the system. So I think it could work. Path of progression for the weapons under Black Star into Fallen God, it'd be cool, but I don't know. It's going to take them like 5 years to get to that point because they're just taking 2 years to do every bit of content.
Yep. We've basically covered all of the things that they said that were going to be coming out. We're basically finished developing and be coming out with the Snow region. They have some other things that are like still in development and still being worked on. One of those was the Valencia PvP Battle Arena map. Etsu, you played a lot of Battlefield, right? Red Battlefield. What do you think about it?
How do I feel about RBF right now?
New RBF map.
Oh, new RBF map. Okay. It's really well. First of all, it's really cool that they're like trying to like actually implement new modes because I kind of felt like it was kind of impossible for them to do that for quite a while. So it's really cool that we're like seeing new like implementations, like new mechanics. I'm not really sure how I feel about the map, but it's still cool nonetheless from like the little bits and pieces I saw, like the domination.
I can't wait to play Call of Duty, dude.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for Call of Duty and BDO forever. Now
I
I
don't
can
know.
go play Domination and lay on the ground and just sneak around, dude. Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I don't know how it's gonna work. Like with, if you're like a sort, could you just spam iframes on the point, or do you have to not be an iframe? Like, you know, there's like a lot of things I'm interested to see like
questions.
how it works.
Yeah, how are they going to function certain things? Like, is a ninja in stealth able to capture the point?
Yeah.
Or a
is
suck Corsair that is untargetable for 50
yeah,
million seconds.
there
like-
a lot of high ground? Because I kind of dislike too much high ground already.
like, do you only collect the? Can you only capture the point when you're not in a super armor frontal guard?
yeah.
iframe? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, I hope that stuff's kind of common sense, but
You
I don't
never
know.
know.
I don't
never.
know.
But like, I'm excited for it. I'm excited for like new RBF. I hope they remove the DR buff that's in the current one, and I hope ranked arenas is really sick too.
Yeah, that was a big surprise to me that they basically have like 3 different versions of the game now. They have like a special version of Node Wars and Siege, then different bounce for because you have the DR whatever debuff thing in Red
Yeah, the
Battlefield.
damage is different.
Yeah, and in open world bounce. It's like it's really strange to me. I can't wrap my head around like how you're supposed to figure out how to play this game at that point.
Yeah, exactly. That's my main. That's the biggest issue because for all the PvP content we have, like in a PvP based game, like the only other option we have besides wars, and like you said, there's cap wars and there's normal wars, and then the only thing you can really do on your free time is hope that GVG starts an open world or you go into RBF, and RBF is just maps too small. It's always imbalanced, and the mechanics like with damage is different, which is I think a bad thing. There's like no consistency.
So, this is actually a really good segue. So, what do you guys feel about them saying that they don't like player killing and they're against player killing and like
Why
a
do we
large
play this
portion of
game?
PvP, right? Like,
It
how does that make you guys feel?
So it seems like the original creator and main original team for Black Desert had a system to develop. They stole some elements from Arcade, stole some elements from other games, and like had a lot of stuff to set up in the future. And then what happened was someone else took over, and they're still kind of doing their thing with their game, but they're changing the direction, making it a lot of like casual friendly, making it new player friendly, making it a nice, fun, friendly game where you can do anything at any time and have fun, right? And it feels like they've had a very anti-red player stance ever since the introduction of Valencia. Like everything after that has been no red stuff ever, because Moyquin is not even developed as a city at all, and feels really weird to have a system in place. Because like I mean, as much as it's really odd because a PK system is very, very important in certain games because the amount of players that would like I can't kill in other games when I'm like getting really frustrated is like really annoying. But like in BDO, it's like, oh my, like when you play another game and then come back to BDO, it's like, man, I cannot believe some games don't let you just kill other players whenever you feel like it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I understand the merit for like not wanting to promote the system. I just don't know why they don't fix the current systems. It feels like the best case scenario for them is to leave everything the way it is and let people just figure it out themselves and leave the karma system broken and leave like the PK system broken because they don't know how to fix it, because if they remove it, they're going to upset way more players than if they like don't do anything, right? People can complain about karma, but they're not going to quit the game over karma, right?
Yeah.
But they would definitely quit the game over the removal of PvP.
Absolutely. I think
So it's odd.
it's interesting because it seems like they view it through this idea of you can only have a PvP game or you can only have a non-PvP game and you can't have both. That's what it kind of feels like, but
Yeah.
it's like that's not really what people are asking for, right? We're asking for the punishments to be balanced properly and the rewards be balanced properly. That way there's not too much killing, but there's also not too much griefing, right? Because the goal of the PvP system is to prevent grind spot griefing. That's really the main goal of it. So if people are griefing your grind spot, you can stop them from griefing it by killing them. And then the karma system prevents the person doing the killing from griefing the person's random people at random grind spots, right? So I don't know. It seems like they just don't understand fundamentally that we're not asking for a more PvP centric game. We're just asking for the current stuff we have to be balanced better. Because
they're in a weird dilemma, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
they're having to develop two games currently, right? You have the game that Korea wants, which is really low PvP, basically zero player killing and just like some kind of social simulator, grind simulator. And then you have the game that the rest of the world seems to want, where it's like, okay, we feel PvP does have its place and grinding both have their place, and we also want our life skilling too, right? So it's like we want a game that has multiple different avenues and ways to play the game, but it kind of seems like they just want it to be a grind simulator, right? More so than anything.
I think it's just a lot of people who are in KAR. They have Lost Ark to play, which has better PvP game modes than BDO does, and they have they have other better PvP games to play. So if you're a PvP player, like why would you be playing BDO? There's just so many better options, right? There's League, there's Dota, there's PUBG, there's all sorts of different options out there. And I think that's what's really happened is that they've just neglected the PvP audience in Korea for so long that the only people who are still playing are just non-PvPers. So everything they want is non-PvP, obviously, because of the people who are left. And I mean, you think in BDO, a lot of people who used to be PvP in BDO have kind of either quit or play more casually now. Right?
I'm grinding for fun, and I used to only RVF for 12 hours a day.
I think that says a lot about how
that's how much it's just.
Yeah.
It is a shame. It's really sad that like they just can't develop that style of content. Because like Arcade did a really, really good purple pirate, like red faction system, and there were tons of cons, but there were also pros. So like you weren't like an ultimate griefer for no purpose, and you also had to deal with some of the negative effects. But with the negative effects came more promotional stuff to do the pirating thing, to go kill more players, steal more loot, do more things, and it's super frustrating. That they couldn't have developed that system, because I feel like having an extra faction of people that are all red would have been really cool. There are people that literally are perma-red and they're streamers, and they just literally, that's their whole thing in BDO, and the system literally kicks them while they're down, and like now you can't use the new pens with the new system, you can't have a tag with red karma, you can't do anything. If you go red, you're basically dead. They don't want any promotion to it.
You can't even barter.
Every function in the game is screwed if you're red. If you auto attack a ship, you go negative 600,000 karma. Just auto attacking, not killing a ship. Like auto attacking a ship while flagged up gets you negative 6,000 naval fame. So you have to do a quest line for like a week straight of nonstop moving a little crate across the map. It's super miserable, and I find it so odd. Because like, sure, some people like to grief people, and it is what it is, right? But we have numerous amounts of channels and ways to avoid players if they want. I just don't understand why they couldn't have developed the system. It's such a weird thing, because there's so many people that like this game specifically for that.
Like I'm a pretty big fan of looking at the extremes and then to figure out what's wrong, right? Like you can get a pin Fallen God and it will downgrade to Tet Fallen God. Like think how extreme that is, right? Literally an item that's worth 4 trillion, more than any player has in the game right now, and you can downgrade it from pin to Tet if you're negative karma, right? Like in the right scenarios. Like that should never be allowed, right? And then obviously if you take that down, you could argue about how bad should it be then, right? And that's just an example of how bad it currently is, or the fact that I kill somebody and then they just use a tier and stand right back up, right? And they can just buy unlimited tiers and just stand up unlimitedly.
Yeah, they think that the killers are the griefers, dude. It's the people that spawn back up and don't stay down, dude. Oh my god!
The people doing the griefing are not the killers. It's the people who are not doing the killing is the griefing.
The people that won't get out of my spot after I beat them.
Most of the anti-grief mechanics in the game are pretty much in favor of actual griefers. Like we've all been grinding like a zone, like Bloody Monastery, or like back then in Star's End, where someone will rock up and grind on top of you, and you try to go deck their guild, and guess what? The guild's undeckable. Like there's nothing you can do except try and feed them the mobs, which they probably don't have crystals that matter to begin with. Or you just go red. and it's just not worth it.
The griefer's the person that can't lose respectfully and get the frick out.
Yeah.
The person that's killing somebody. Like, that person grinded all that gear so they could kill you, so they can take the spot and grind over you. And that's the system, dude.
Wait, maybe it's the way we're communicating it to the Probists, is we're just communicating around. They hear us say griefers, and they think, the person's killing them. And we're like, no. The person who's dying is doing the griefing, you know?
Yeah.
We have to figure out a new way to say it so that it'll get translated properly.
Wait, look in general what somebody from my chat made. Oh no.
It's
Oh, I can't see general chat.
Oh, you have to put it in the other general.
Oh, my Discord's just lagging.
Yeah, you have to put it in the other general.
All right, I put it there.
Yeah,
Look
okay.
at that.
Level 3.
Level 3 plus J's at the top, dude. Oh no.
Please, no. That is not even funny. Do you want to be poor for your whole life?
Don't give them ideas.
Do you want an IV hooked up from your bank account to Pearl Abyss?
Wait, the real problem, they don't have two-factor enabled, so they're losing 5% drop rate. Wait a minute.
What?
Yo, enable your two-factor, bro. You don't
who
have
cares about that when you can have 600% drop rate?
Dude, but
if you guys I just can't see what we're talking about, but someone created a image of a level 3 for the item drop rate here. They created a little fake image of it. So they have some other things we can bring up and see what you guys like. They have the ranked arena, which is going to be ranked based on your class, is my understanding. Is that correct?
There will be individual class rankings and also, I guess, regular ratings for among everybody else, because it's what Lost Ark has. I believe that's what people were talking about, so that it's separated to be more fair.
That'd be kind of nice. So if you'll be going DKs versus other DKs in the 1v1 leaderboard.
Well, the way I understand it is, so that's what Lost Ark does it, where you have two rankings, right? Like you have your overall ranking, and then you have your ranking within your class. So it's like, okay, you have your overall ranking of for like the overall rank. Let's say you play a shit class. Let's say you play Shy, right? Like for PvP, and your overall ranking in the state of the game is ranked number 1016 because Shy gets wrecked in 1v1s, right? But your ranking within the Shies can be number 1 because, it's the gauge of how well you do compared to the other people that play your class as well. So it's like a nice system where it's like, even if your class is bad, it rates you against the people that play the same class as well. So I like that 2-rank system personally.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm a little worried about how they're gonna balance it out, like you said, between classes, just because not only do we have different damage, we have literally different damage to classes, through modifiers. Is it going to be balanced out specifically for arenas? Are they going to try and balance out modifiers later? Is it just going to be you go in arenas and everyone's doing proper modifiers to each other? That's the main concern I have about it, which is why I'm not as excited about arenas. I'm still looking forward to it, but I'm kind of worried about it for that reason.
It is a great question. They do balance the game around large-scale siege and node war. So if we do 1v1s and it's super imbalanced, are they going to address it at all?
Yeah, because you have classes doing
in the ranked BA. Yeah, that's above my pay grade.
But then the problem is then we have yet another mode that has different mechanics
in real normal game. Yeah, I mean RBF still has that death delay crap, right? Where you get reduced damage once you
up to 50%. I just super tanky.
I think what they should do is make it where you have DK battles, and every day of the month has a different class signed up for it. So then it just repeats at the end. So you'd be Monday, December 1st is DK battle, December 2nd is striker, and then so on and so forth. So that you have a dedicated day where you fight your class for your class rank, and then the general one you just want it balanced, right? You just keep it as is. And then the best class wins, and you just don't worry about it. So I think that would be maybe a better solution to that overall, because otherwise, like you said, like you just have another version of the game balance, and I don't think they should balance the game around 1v1s. You know, I think they should keep it balanced around Siege, really, for the most part, at least. Plus, I don't think the Probists will be good enough at balancing stuff anyway, to be honest. I don't think they'll ever get it right.
Yeah, they'll try their best.
Yeah, I'd rather them just not try and then just, and just leave it how it is. Just let them work on something else that they'll be better at, you know?
So there was a game that had that, right? Where it was like every month, they had like a class v class mirror match tournament, right? Or like every 2 months or something like that, where it was like seeing who was the best at their class, and like I can't remember what game that was though that had that.
I don't know. It seems like a good idea. Like I like it because you can't have a DK versus DK or like a Sork v Sork every single day, because people just won't. You won't be nobody will show up to it, right? You'll be like, you know, you'll run out of Sorks to show up. It'll be like an hour-long queue, and then eventually it'll be a 2-hour queue, and it'll be a 3-hour queue, and then people just will stop showing up for it.
Yeah.
So you have to have like something where it's like a timed thing, like once a month or like once a week or something, so people will actually show up to it. I think that's actually the real concern that I have, because that's the whole reason why the 5v5 arena died. It wasn't because like people didn't want to do it ever. It's like the number of people who want to do it was just very, very limited. So, you know, because it's available 24/7, when you start up at 3 a.m. and no one does it, then you just assume that it's just dead forever, and then everyone starts believing it's dead, and then it is dead, right? Because then no one knows when to show up.
Well, I think that's the same reason that Shadow Arena had its success, right? Where in the sense where like, yeah, the money was really good, but at first, before it even became a thing of that you could do it, they made it so you could only do it like 4 hours at a night, right? Like they limited it to a couple hour time slot. And people like got so used to looking forward to it and doing it at that time. And then once they realized like, oh shit, we got a lot of people that are into this now, then they opened it up, right, to be able to do it, you know, at a bigger time slot. And I think that's probably going to be the way to do it, instead of like all day at first.
You know, it'd be interesting if like a ranked arena is really, really good, and a lot of people play it, and like it's really popular, and then they make it like its own standalone game separate from BDO.
No.
Come on, you're just gonna take that from me in my own chat, Blonde Bear?
That'd be a really crazy idea. I saw it and I was like, oh my god, this is Shadow Arena. Oh my god.
Feeling of deja vu. Huh.
Oh god.
They're going to release it in competition with Riot's when we won Fighter.
I'd play that game though. Like, I wouldn't log in.
Listen, like, all they gotta do is figure out how to just put Shadow Arena back in. Let's put this massive thing back in the hole where it belongs, and then we need to play it again and be
I
happy.
think people would play it again if it was here right now.
Oh my god, yeah.
100%.
I have people constantly begging to play it all the time. They're like,
oh, really?
God, I'd be playing this. I'd be playing BDO all the time if this stupid game was in. Oh my god, yeah.
The main reason why Shadow Arena died, though, was not because it was a bad game, but because it was actually more laggy than BDO somehow. Like, so I think they definitely need to figure out how low that lag business before they bring that back, you know? Maybe in celebration of fixing lag, they can bring it back, you know?
It's really sad. Their peak in October, something was like 170 players, I think, and their average is like 26 players a day.
Well, they have 23 bots that they basically have in there so people can actually get a game. And if you go in there, it's like super obvious bots where they're like, oh, picked it up. Oh, you got me.
Really, really sad. Because the classes they've designed are like, it's funny because there's a semi-inspiration for the rework classes. Like for Zerker, they rebalanced the Buster in BDO similar to the style that they have in Shadow Arena. Which is really interesting. So
Shadow Arena got the Rock Mage, dude. I remember when people thought that was going to come to BDO.
Bro, he's coming to BDO, all right? Just you wait.
I was getting really hyped. They showed okay, so wait. So the real question is, whose teaser was the one with the floating pot and the 2 rocks in the valley? That wasn't
Still don't know, dude.
That's Wukong, man. That's Wukong.
Oh, yeah, is that Wukong?
That's the one people think is Wukong.
Oh, it's 100% Wukong, because if you actually, there's a I don't know how to pronounce the Chinese word. It's like Xinghanya mountain range or something like that. But it actually has mountains that are like little pillars that look just like that image. and it's from China. And if you look at the
Like, it's part of
pictures,
the story.
if you look at it in sunset, it looks almost like that image, almost to the T. Like there's a ton of mountains that have that little mountain in the middle, whereas that little thing is just barely balanced there. There's like a ton of those in that little forest, that national forest in China. And the same thing actually shows up in Dragon Ball Z because they take the same inspiration in Dragon Ball Z from it. It's like a super famous thing. So I think it's definitely Wukong class. It matches the two mountains being on his right hand and left hand when Buddha trapped underneath the mountain matches up. The fact that he was being fed lava orbs or whatever it was by Buddha's spirit. The fact that it's the mountain range actually matches perfectly to the mountain ranges in China. Like all of it adds up to be. I think it has to be Wukong at this point.
Have any of you ever actually watched a Monkey King movie?
No. Oh, I watched the Netflix one, like a cartoon one. It's
Really?
not Narnia or something like that. It's like they have a different word for Monkey King.
Yeah, but
Wukong?
it's like the dude that was reincarnated, the kid, like the baby.
Yeah, he's like reincarnated.
Yeah. I've seen that one actually.
Yeah. So
He has like the wheel shoes. You know what I'm saying? The fiery wheel shoes and like the staff and all that. Yeah.
Yep. So there's like 2 or 3 of those on Netflix that I've watched. I've watched a few. They call it. I think they have a different word for a Chinese anime. I forget what it's called. But I've watched a few Chinese anime as well with similar themes.
There was a Monkey King video I watched like 4 years ago for my birthday, and I made my wife and I made my friend watch it and all my roommates, and it was I loved it and everybody hated it. And then we watched it for my next birthday and the next birthday, and my wife has never let me live that down. She's very frustrated. I made her watch the Monkey King movie.
Look,
I thought it was really good. I was like, wow, this is a really good movie. It was made like a few years ago. It's called Monkey King, and I was like, that was really good. And it like goes through a story, and like the heavens and stuff, and it's like, wow, that was so cool.
Bro, don't let him put you down. See, Treasure Planet is the best movie ever, and people doesn't realize it. And in the same way, I'm sure they don't recognize that Monkey King is a true treasure. All right.
Hot take: Treasure Planet is really good. Big agree.
Very good movie.
Very good movie.
I can't believe they didn't expand that universe at all. They had so much potential.
Yeah,
I love it.
Aren't they making a sequel?
I mean, Disney loves money, so probably eventually. I mean, it's a matter of time, not if. They will definitely do it, given enough time and enough greed.
So like, okay.
Topic, my bad.
Yeah.
the silhouette that they showed of what they said
Dragon
is going to
Ball.
be the next class that comes out. Do you think it's going to be a dragon class, or do you think they're trolling us and it's a silhouette of a new DK outfit?
helping outfit.
Really? It's going to be a new class. I'd laugh so hard about if it was an outfit, but it's a new class. It's definitely a new class.
Well, all female bodies in BDO, except from the elves and Shy, have the exact same appearance. So if you just look at them from the silhouette of a female character, they're all going to look the exact same.
Yeah.
But in this image in particular, we can actually see that instead DK kind of hovers over her sword like it's a dick. And in this case, she actually holds on to her sword. That's what she does.
What if it's the real DK rework?
So that's what this image here though is like actually grabbing onto her sword, and you can see it. She's grabbing onto like the middle. So she has like this huge hilt, and then she has like a middle portion that has like a guard on it, and then she has this long sword. So it seems like to me that this is going to be like almost like a warrior awakening greatsword type play style.
Interesting, yeah.
Just looking at it, because the hand,
cool.
She definitely doesn't have the seductive hand gesture that DK has.
I will say, lore-wise, it does make sense, right? Because
Lore-wise, it's fitting in.
Because Blonde and I talked about it yesterday while we were grinding Olans or whatever. But there's there's 3 like eternal dragons, quote, if you will, in like BDO lore, right? You have Banha, which is imbuing Mystic, the blue dragon that she summons. You have Yanixtra, which is the one from Mountain of Eternal Winter that imbues Guardian. And then we have a 3rd dragon that we have yet to be introduced to, which would kind of fit with the aesthetic of the silhouette. Because if you look at the silhouette, you can see the dragon embroideries on her left side, and it looks like she has like a dragon head, like the hair just kind of matches up with like some kind of dragon-esque inspired costume. So
Dragon Knight.
Yeah, she has she has like a little dragon horns or something like that. It looks like coming out of her.
Yeah,
her head
yeah,
just about.
exactly.
Yeah, I can see it.
So like
Argue that
a
technically
game theory, dude.
you can technically just a theory, a game theory. I think that Dragon Knight would probably fit, right? And you would call, well, that's just Guardian. Well, technically, not really. Guardian's more like a god level character. Dragon Knight could be completely separate, but still, as much as it can be similar, it can be different. So I think they're going to go with more Dragon Knight type abilities and go with more of the like Zweihander style things.
I'm a little surprised they're doing a female class. Because they've done male female for like 2 years now, so I'm a little surprised if the next one was female. They have been basing them previously on the Elvia elements, right? Like lightning, water, and so the ones we don't have would be fire and void. So I think if it makes sense with a dragon, maybe it'd be fire, right? Or if there was a void female, people would love that as well. So.
I'm thinking it's probably gonna be some like I'm thinking it's got to be shadow related, dude, or something. Because think of it, right? We have the three eternal dragons. Let's just say if it is based on the third eternal dragon, we have Banha, which is water, right? We have Unixtra, which is fire.
Yep.
So we would think that it wouldn't be water or fire inspired. So what else do we have, right? Like dark, wind. Like
oh my god, it's like the 3 legendary birds in Pokemon. It's gonna be electric. Moltres, Articuno, Zapdos.
That'd be cool.
You think so? You think it's gonna be electric?
No.
Well, no,
not.
actually, I don't think it'll be electric because we already have. We just recently got Sage, right?
I think it'll be Shadow based, 100%. I think it's gonna be Shadow, like a DK Guardian mix, but more like dark type stuff, but not like Guardian not DK esque like dark stuff, but like black magic style. It really depends which dragon they're gonna be doing, right? Because there was someone when we were talking about that Lorker, there was people in the chats talking about how there's another dragon where you collect. Wait, or maybe it was Jakun, where there's a dragon that you collect like remnants or some scales or something out of.
It was the dragon.
Is a dragon.
Yeah, it's a black dragon that like ate too many black stones, so it changed him.
A black dragon. Yeah. There's some
and one of the pot pieces, his glands or something like that. One of his glands.
Yeah, like Narcothans or something. Some Narcothans or Nyath. I don't know. Something about it, dude. There's
there's a lot. Zarka is technically a dragon. We have Nuver. Like, I mean, I would not be surprised if they want to continue to expand on that. I don't think they're so hell bent on their lore that they're going to like not put more dragons.
Main characters, right? Like, so like they had Corsair, or sorry, not Corsair. Well, Corsair, yeah, technically is a person in the lore, just like because her father left her item behind.
Nova is a person in the lore.
There's a person in the lore, right? Guardian technically is a character in the lore, right? There's not like duplicate Guardians because she's the one that was imbued by the god. They are integral, so I feel like they would do something like tied right to the lore, but they can add anything at any time. You're right.
They do have the Void Guardian. How's that fit in for the Eternal Mountain of Winter? They're the Void Guardian. Is that?
The Blackstones are from the Black Spirit meteorite that crashed and introduced the Black Spirit to the planet we're on, right? So like that is a space void type thing.
How do you guys know this stuff? I just hit mobs.
Hey, Etu, that's gonna be on the quiz, bro. You better.
I just hit the mobs.
150 question test.
There is a lot of video lore. It's just really annoying to access.
You just pick it up over time, dude. You should have seen Blonde when Ataraxion came out. He was like a kid in a candy store, bro. Just finding all the little tidbits in the lore.
Ataraxion, the Vahamalkia was so good. I feel bad because Sacred Kia is so much more open. It's really difficult to find the knowledge articles, and it hasn't been as enjoyable. But Vahamalkia was so fantastic. So good.
You need like that what's it called in Assassin's Creed? You have that hawk mode Hawkeye mode, and then you just like find them super easy. That's what you need in the new dungeons for finding the lore.
Fly around everywhere.
What else do they have?
So yeah, they be Dragon Knight.
They
I'm trying to
have.
think of what else.
But they did talk about the Rudum class in 2019, but I don't think we got any new information on that, other than it's still being thought of.
Yeah.
TBA.
Yeah. What else? We talked about the Ranked Arena. Did they mention anything about the 10v10 arena? I was a little confused based on the translations. Did they talk about that?
They did not. I didn't hear them mention it once.
All right, so we're just assuming that's dead and not coming back. I mean, they have I've looked it up. Every single Untitled Ball or Calpheon Ball, they've announced a PvP game mode that did not come out. Every single one. Like, they talked about the sheriff system. They talked about the 5v5 mode. They talked about the 20v20 mode, like Medea versus, or was it Calpheon versus Valencia?
Yeah.
It's just like there's been every single time they've talked about it. I think the only one that's technically come out was the new Node War rework. That's I guess the one.
So chat is saying that they said that the 10v10 development is delayed until after new region and the arena comes out. I may have missed it. That may have been when I was in like a blind rage after they said that we were not going to get the new region till sometime next year.
Yeah,
So I probably blanked out for a couple minutes because of that.
The red was passed out. Okay, well that means we're going to get that in like, I don't know, June. So they'll start development in June, and it'll come out next June of 2023. So we might get it eventually.
One day we'll get it.
Yeah, it's possible.
Old and gray.
If you guys want to know the history of that island, they have this island in Odalita, and originally it was going to be a grind spot, like the Thornwood grind spot is what it's going to be, the 300 AP one.
Castle, baby.
Yep, that's what it was going to be. It was going to be a super, super high AP grind spot, and then they changed it, and it was going to be a 5v5 PvE/PvP game mode, where basically you back up one side backs up the fighter of Odalita. It's like the general of Odalita, and you actually meet her in the main storyline of Odalita. I think Odalita Part 2 you meet her. And then the other side would back up some other side, I guess we don't really know. And then they changed that, and it was going to be a 10v10 PvP game mode, which also has never came out. So it's just changed visions 3 different times, and that's why we're talking about it.
So wait, okay, another thing. So they finally announced another mount that isn't just a horse, but they made it shy only. Like, how do you guys feel about the alpaca?
Listen. Okay, shies were only donkeys for a long time, and then they made it not donkeys only. They made them ride whatever we want. So as long as we RP and take screenshots and cry about not being able to get on alpacas, they're gonna make the super alpaca, and then we can mount them.
That's what they actually said. They actually said that. They said if people complain about it enough that during the Q&A that we will consider adding it to all classes.
My Zerker can't get on that tiny little alpaca and snap its back. I'm gonna be so upset.
Zerker on an alpaca. Oh no!
I need one alpaca for each foot for my Zerker.
The thing I'm really sad about is because they initially announced a couple years back that they're going to add a wolf mount and they're going to add a bear mount. And that would
deer mount too.
Yep, and they were going to make it where you could actually breed them and be part of the training life skill. And so with this winter update, they didn't mention anything about life skills, anything about the wolf mount, and they didn't mention anything about the polar bear mount. And someone actually asked them in the Q&A, can you breed the alpaca and have it like tier 1 through tier 5? And they said, no! It's just you can just do a quest and you get it. So it's not even related to training. I don't know.
It's so crazy that that literally got introduced, and people that got invited to the show were like, they probably had some question about like a costume or something, and then they're like, we're doing alpacas, and they're like, oh my god, can I breed them?
Dude, can we talk about the dumpster fire of a QA session? Oh my god, dude. We literally had the guy asking if BDO can add NFTs in the future. Like, what kind of you literally have the lead game developer right there, and you could ask him anything. And you're like, yo, any chance I can get NFTs and BDO? Like, what the fuck, dude?
I thought it was super awkward that 2 more people decided to ask questions about red player combat when they already answered that we're not doing anything with it. I thought that was odd. And I definitely feel like some of the people that had their questions stolen, so they came up with something really weird last minute. The questions about, like, the first girl that was in the Santa Claus outfit, or the Mrs. Claus outfit, I guess, like, asked about tier 5 pets, and I was like, that's awesome that she's asking about it. And they're like, basically, we don't know what we're going to do with it yet, but it's in conversations. It's like, some people are upset about that, but it's like, listen, they're talking about it. They want to figure out how to not make it so that you're mad that they made it a system. Because, like, some people are going to be mad if they have to buy a pet, or if they make it mandatory, or if they make it whatever. They're like, we're trying to make it non-mandatory, so give us time.
I got an easy solution for it. Make it where all monsters in the entire game have a 50% chance of dropping loot, and then double all loot that monsters do drop when they do drop loot. Bam! All of a sudden, you need half the number of pets you currently have. Solution: no tier 5s.
That was the console solution that they did.
Well, you don't remove half of the pets, right, or half of the mobs. You just remove half the loot, right? So when a mob dies, he has a 50% chance of dropping loot and a 50% chance of not dropping loot. But when he does drop loot, he drops double the amount. So that effectively doesn't change, and that fixes all of the loot scrolls in Valencia at the same time.
What about for mobs that only drop a specific item?
They'd have to make a drop off everybody then.
No,
How about
50%
Elton piece?
It'd be like Elton piece. When you kill an Elton, he has twice the chance of dropping the Elton piece, but there's only a 50% chance that he drops anything.
Interesting.
So you still have the same odds.
Zero. Okay.
Yeah,
I mean,
doesn't
dude,
change.
they
Still
give so
zero.
many pets away nowadays. How about we just increase the max pet limit that you can have out by
The
2?
slot. They should do the slot.
Why can't we just have 6 pets out? Because they give out
What's
10
that?
pets like candy nowadays.
Well, that technically increases the pay to win. I think if they're actually going to do it no pay to win, you just make it where you can craft a backpack for your pet in the snow region, and then you can equip the backpack on your pet, and it gives them 0.5 speed, looting speed, or whatever, something like that. And
They'll figure it out and they'll
Yeah.
introduce it. I feel weird that they dodged the Red Fox question from SA, or at least the guys wouldn't translate it, rather. I thought that was so awkward. So I'm like thinking, are the guys that are translating for them Red Fox people? Or can like PA not actually answer a question about Red Fox because they're in a contract with the company?
yeah,
feel
that
really
gave me like OG Russia vibes when Russia held people's accounts hostage.
That was giving me some panic.
So
I was
for
like,
anybody that doesn't know, I'll explain it. So the person who asked the question, one of the questions from SA, the translator was censoring what he wanted to say. So basically, he said he was going to say, does PA have any intentions of self-publishing in SA? Because Red Fox has had a lot of GM corruption. They had the big scandal where GMs were selling Pearl items to players and on like anonymous websites and shit like that. And the translator was like refused to translate that.
So I mean, I guess he's like, I think if he did translate it though, they'd probably just fire him, right? Be like, well, you're obviously not part of the crew here. I'm making extra $500 a week on this on the side, and you're gonna, if you do it, his boss is probably looking at him on the sidelines like, no.
Yeah,
No.
it made sense though, because at the time it was like we were waiting for like 10-15 minutes for the next question to be translated. Yeah, we were waiting for the next translation. I was wondering like why the guy kept looking off screen and talking to somebody. Like, can I say this? Like,
I can't say that, right? Like,
yeah, right.
I can't talk about this.
And like it was
I'm gonna
like
get
weird.
boss. Let me know. Like he looked like he didn't know what to do.
And then
I was
like
like,
afterwards, the guy made a Reddit post and it's like, oh wait, that makes sense, right? Like why it took so long to get that one question translated, because like they were trying to censor it.
I figured out if they could actually ask it or not. I mean, I feel like they're in a contract, so they really wouldn't be able to actually answer that question, right? They got to be in some contracts where they can't do something or say anything, right?
Yeah, companies always want to end on good terms too. Like when Cacao Games and all that was being taken over by Pearl Abyss, they didn't really mention a lot of that stuff. They didn't want to talk about it. They wanted to keep it hush hush until things were done. And then they came out with the official announcement page, and official like, we've really enjoyed working with Cacao Games over all these years. Like, goodbye.
See ya.
So
yeah, very very odd. Very odd.
I think what they should have done is said, hey, we can't answer your question due to contractual agreements. We're going to have to skip your question. Do you have another question? right?
Yeah.
And it should just
Oh my
answer
God.
that right away.
The guy that asked a question about the hair.
I think what I'd like to see him do in the future is actually do this Q&A off of live stream, but then cut it for the good questions, right? Like cut it all up, and so it's nice and fast, where it's like person ask in their language, and then you get you see him talking, and you have a translator right afterwards, so it's nice and quick.
Yeah. Do the Q&A before the event even starts, that it's just ready to go. Even if it was pre-recorded, it's still a live, authentic experience. I feel like doing it live there's so many chances for problems. I understand they're trying to fulfill players' wishes because players have been asking to be able to ask more questions like that too in that format. So like I respect them for like trying really hard to please the players by doing a live Q&A like that so that we wouldn't feel like it's staged. But arguably, it just took so long. People were getting like bored and with nothing to do.
Another thing that kind of hurt it is like for us, it was like fucking 4 a.m., 5 a.m. by that point, right?
Yeah, I
think that really hurt it. Like I imagine if I was in EU or Australia or like
it was
Korea
my
or
prime
something.
time, but NA it was horrible. For every other region though, I feel like it was pretty good timing.
Yeah, it's like early
it was one of the
morning
best.
EU and stuff. So, let's talk about some other things. They have Calpheon and Doom. They confirmed it's still in the works. They say they're going to be working on that and releasing it, I guess, sometime in 2022. They didn't really tell a time, but they showed some game footage of fighting some trolls and then how they're going to, I guess, resurrect after you kill them and stuff like that, which is what it kind of looked like to me. So I'm kind of happy they're still working on that. They also said that the Calpheon Hadoom world boss, Blackstar, will be coming out right after Calpheon Hadoom or during with Calpheon Hadoom. So that's kind of cool.
Dang, they talked about that a long time ago. Jeez.
Yeah, I kind of figured they're going to do the next Fallen God piece with that, right? So that'll be Fallen God. They'll probably do Fallen God gloves, right, with the Blackstar world boss, is my guess.
Do you think so?
Oh, I don't see. I mean, it's a good timing for it, right? You release big content update. You release it. That's what they did with Odalita race. Odalita, they did the chest. They're doing Snow Region. They're doing the helmet. So I don't think they have any major regions coming out anytime soon.
The Demon Zone and Hasso.
The Demon Zone, I don't think they're working on anymore.
The Demon Zone is what, north of Valencia, I think.
Yeah, because
what was the Demon Zone?
It's the
Demon Zone north of Valencia, where Hashashin came from.
The land of demons.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they're still like planning on getting that done and stuff, but they haven't mentioned it since then. And
yeah, true. Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. And I mean, what this one took like Odalita was a year and a half ago for Korea. So I mean, it took them a year and a half. So why is this next one gonna be 2 years before they get?
I feel like they won't. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they will release new Fallen God. They've been like drip feeding so hard with that. Like we got we got Fallen God with Odalita. It was launched at the end of 2020, right? November. It's been a year now, and now we're waiting not just a year and up to 6 more months before we even get the next Fallen God piece. I don't think they're going to release 2 next year, like with that and Calpheon. I think they're going to wait another year and a half. I don't know why they're drip feeding, because I don't like that concept, because I feel like
Game of doing nothing.
Because we're waiting on the content to release. Players are like, well, sure, the end game players have prepped up for it. Obviously, the new players are always in catch up, but they're always in catch up mode.
Artifact slots and 1v1 arenas are going to fix the game.
I don't know. Opium. I don't know. We'll see.
I mean, the artifact slot concept is pretty cool.
I like it a lot. I'm very excited for the potential, but till we get it, don't really know.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. They said something about Tier 10 Dine was still in the works, but they didn't really say anything else about it.
How?
Like, I feel like at this point they're just delaying it for Lost Ark or something. Like, I don't know. It
memes, dude.
Like, we literally saw it running on the water already.
Feels unnecessary. There's a lot of unnecessary what feels like delays because they just put it on the side. I don't know. I really don't know.
I kind of hope what the Tier 10 water horse does is I hope it just runs on the water and then it just sinks into the water and starts swimming on the water at that point, right? It's just like
the Corsair style stuff. That would be so cool.
Yeah,
doggy paddle.
Yeah, and like if it sinks to the bottom of the ocean after if I mess up, then I'm gonna be a little upset. And I think maybe it should get tired, right? Run out of stamina, and then you would sink to the bottom maybe then. But that'd be like when you're going on Magoria or something, right? Because I think they want to prevent people from riding their horse all the way from the mainland all the way over to Magoria, right? They don't
That would be so cool, though, if you
It
could.
would be pretty cool. Maybe,
Dude, Blonde might actually get the Knoll if that happens.
Oh,
It is on the list of rare items I don't have.
He wouldn't have to get a carrot because he'd have the horse.
I would if I could.
That's the double breezy cell thing, right? That's what that is.
Yep.
Yeah, that's like the rarest treasure item in the game, I guess, technically now, right? Now that people can get the merchant ring.
Yeah, now that with the class reworks, people are going to be clearing Olins twice as fast, so the merchant ring's kind of a joke. Sadly, yeah.
I don't think it's gonna be.
And then
You really think it's gonna be twice as fast?
Crypt is going to be a guaranteed piece because all the end game gearlets are going to go for it because it's a new Deboreka. So Ash and Crypt are automatic gets no matter what for your end game builders. Annex and Sakurai are just a penance.
I think the Olin's piece is still going to be the gatekeeper because think about it, right? Anybody and their mom can grind fucking Histria, but the Elton piece still gatekeeps like 99% of the community.
Speaking of new items, I want a distortion ring to come out when they release Calpheon Hadoom. I want a distortion ring.
We have been missing a good ring slot for a while.
Yeah. The last one we got was Odolita, and that was kind of like equal to Crescent Ring, sort of. And not really tongue grad, in my opinion. So it would be nice to get a distortion ring with Calpheon Hadoom. What else is there? They mentioned.
I want evasion distos. I was hoping that Vajas would be evasion distos that like drop your evasion instead of your DR, but
that's what I wanted the Black Star to be. The Black Star offhand, I wanted it to be really high accuracy minus evasion, and that's what I wanted it to be. I thought that'd be a really, really cool offhand then that would actually have a unique purpose outside of it, and it could have like tons of monster accuracy on it and a little bit of monster AP. So it'd be like a downgrade from Kudum, but it'd be an upgrade for like PvP. So you could just throw that bad boy on, and you'd have a reason to actually have it. Because that way you'd have a reason to have Nuver, a Kudum, and you'd have a reason to have Black Star offhand. And that's what I was really wanting him to do. Something that was genuinely new.
yeah, it's a really weird dynamic because like in the current dynamic of the game, if you're an evasion build, you have one offhand for everything, right? As an evasion build, you PvP in Kudum, you PvE in Kudum. You don't really have a need from any other kind of offhand. But as a DR, and depending on the situation, you have a Nuver for PvP, you potentially have an accuracy offhand, and you have to have a Kudum for PvE.
Mm-hmm.
So I was hoping that the Black Star offhand in some way would offer something like a different for DR. Could maybe like consolidate one or two of the offhands, but yeah, that didn't really happen. So it kind of seems like we're still in the 3 offhand meta for DR.
It's replacing an offhand, and it's not even really that much of an upgrade. Imagine Black Star chances on something that you could just buy for 10 bill and put a few Kaffers in.
I think as long as they lower, if they massively lower the amount of crons, like if it's not 2,600 crons, per attempt at pin, I'd be like, okay, I understand. But if it has the same cron count that the current ones have,
I don't have any place to go for it at this point. It's just crazy.
Yeah, it's because like that would be so expensive if it has the same cost as the main hand and the awakening, right?
Yeah.
Especially when you can make the free pen offhand too. Like why wouldn't you?
What are some other things here? Terror of the Abyss, which is supposed to be like an infinite grind spot. They apparently are still working on that, which I guess is good news. Sick. I'm really surprised it's still not out yet.
What does infinite grind mean?
Basically, you'll start off at level 1, Terror of the Abyss, and when you complete that, you can go to level 2. Level 2 will have a higher drop rate for all items, but if you die in level 2, you lose half your loot. And so you can continue, if you beat level 2, you go to level 3, level 4, and continue going down. This is like the basic idea of it. And so maybe you get down to like 40, and you've now got 40 levels of loot. And if you just choose to leave after completing level 40, well, then you get to keep it. But if you go to level 41 and you risk it for the biscuit and you die, then you will lose half the loot. So
Yeah,
it's
think of it as like in other games they call them infinite towers, right? Where you keep going up in floors and getting more and more loot. In BDO, they're doing it like underwater, where you're going deeper and deeper. So it's basically the same as like an infinite tower.
That's
Um,
cool.
but it has that like risk factor, like Potion was saying, where like okay, you could probably enter the way they understood it. You probably enter it once a day or something, and then like the deeper you go, the better rewards you get. But as soon as you die, you lose half of everything that you looted
Mhm.
throughout all the floors you made it through.
I-
So
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting. I've been excited for
Sounds
that for a while.
I don't want it to be a daily thing. I want it to be where I have to go grind an item, acquire the item, and then that gives me
Oh, a
permission to go run it
key.
one time. So if I have a lot of time on my hands, I can just go run it, and go grind for the item, for the key. And maybe there's like a monthly quest that you can get in for free once a month, right? So if you're a casual player and you just want to do it that once a month or once a week, you get that once a week or once a month thing. But if you want to continue, you go get the key. Maybe it takes you like a couple hours of grinding and you get a key, right? That's why I want. Because if it's just a weekly thing, it's going to be a huge turnoff for me. I don't want another weekly, daily type thing in the game. I want something I can just spend, the more time I put into it, the more I can do the activity. So I literally learned something about that. Like grind Sakurai, make a key, go back down, try it again.
Yeah, like different alternatives for making money is definitely like something that's like, really needed for this game. Just because as much as it's fun running in circles, it is nice to have like something else.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think they really. I've talked about this for a while. I really hope they do a transition into more item-based grinds or like value-based grinds on not monetary gains, but item gains. For example, RuneScape. You'll grind a skill for money for a while, buy the gear that you want to then do a raid or a boss or a dungeon or quest, and then go do that content for whatever the rewards are, that you can then unlock another piece of content. Like everything's kind of intertwined with each other.
Mm-hmm.
I really would like for them to really push hard and develop other stuff other than grinding, because if we just get this new area, the winter zone, and it's just a bunch of grind spots and it's just more money, and then they introduce Calpheon and it's just more money than the other grind spot, and it's just money stacked on money stacked on money. Right now there are players I know that have grinded nonstop Elvia. Like for you, for example, you did 4 months of yellow loot scrolls to like get a massive income, and then like I know players that have been doing that for the last X amount of months that it's been out, and are just insanely geared, and now they got nothing to do. Like they're bored. They got nothing to do now, and it's like there's no quote unquote content, even though the whole point of the game is to grind, to get gear, to grind more, and maybe PvP. I just wish there was like that extra thing to do.
That's one of the reasons why I never really understood, especially nowadays, that silver's so easy to get. The concept of like selling costumes, like I love it because I'm the one that buys them up. But it's like,
Why accelerate the content? That's the whole
really,
point you're
the
playing the game.
whole point in the game is just to acquire gear. There
Acquire
isn't
gear.
anything to do once you have the gear currently. So it's like,
Yep.
I agree.
yeah, it's kind of weird.
Really odd. Really, really odd.
Yeah, I'm definitely getting scarce on running content. That's why I'm going for hard cap energy, because I mean I have a 66 Sork, I have a 64 Lon, like 63 Sage, I have a ton of 62 characters, like 705 gear score. Like I'm running out of things to do. So yeah, I don't know.
I mean, like Choice is going for he's like full pen C20 evasion. Isn't he like working on full pen C20 DR now? Like it's just a swap.
Yeah.
What else do you go for?
Yeah, I do think the idea of having different gear sets is actually really healthy for the game, right? So you have one evasion set, one accuracy set. I think that's really, really good and healthy for the game, because that allows other players to catch up. But it's also really important that you need that gear to go to a certain grind spot, right? Like there should be a grind spot that you can only go and grind when you have full accuracy set. So that way, even though you're caught up, you still get rewarded for investing into it, right? Like Crypto's like that, right? But they need to have more like they need some grind spots that are like you need a maneuver to go grind, right? You need a full DR set to go grind. So that way you're rewarded for having duplicate sets of gear.
Yeah.
But I do think
and you also like want to push for different sets of gear, like be motivated for it too.
Yep. Absolutely. Because I feel like without enough without having something like that, like maybe they do certain grind spots where I don't know. Like maybe they can add something in where you have comma self damage, right? And you have to go get Narc earrings and Forest Narus rings that have comma self damage on them.
Crystals.
Yep. And then that's like just it. You don't need those normally; they're garbage everywhere else. But for those, few grind spots, they're mandatory, right? So then you have like a couple different gear sets you can kind of build towards.
Yeah, I mean, right now, like it's a little bit like on the lighter side. It's not quite what you're talking about, but I grind a lot of Bloody Monastery, so I sought in human damage because those mobs they're humans, and it really helps with the grind over there specifically, which I think is really cool.
I really like the idea of being able to put like different crystals in your gear to like specialize at the spot you're in, right?
Yeah,
I think that's really, really good. And it also helps out the economy because you pull those bad boys out and like you might need to go and buy another one or whatever, right? So yeah, I actually hope they do more stuff. Like I wanted to see demi-human crystals. Like I was pretty sad to not hear that they did that. So I'm hoping Calpheon and Hodum will have demi-human crystals potentially. Because that would be really nice, because that way you could fill those in for the other grand spots. You have human damage or demi-human.
Yeah. It would get like, I think it'd get a little tricky because it's kind of hard for them to balance around crystals, especially like some grind classes that are already like sick. Like imagine like you just have a sick class grinding and then they also have those crystals. I guess if that's like a current spot, but if it's a new spot like designed specifically for you to need to run those crystals, yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think it just depends, right? I mean, you have to obviously balance it, and like you would probably want to do veteran player spots like that because veteran players would be itching for some content like that.
Yeah,
but new player spots you want to probably avoid in complicated mechanics like that. Just like in modern MMOs, right? They start you off with the baby dungeons, and they have like one mechanic, and they put you into the new one, and you have two mechanics, and so on and so forth, right?
And then it gets crazy.
Yep. And by the time you get to the crazy, you're like, oh, I know how to do this because I've already learned everything, right? I've already learned half of these mechanics. So I think if they do the same thing with the grind spots where they increase the difficulty and increase the complexity of mechanics as you get to harder grind spots and stuff, I think it's fine. Because again, I think grind spots in BDO are like raids in other games, right? Like I would expect, in raids in other games, I expect them to get harder, and I expect grind spots to also get mechanically harder, and the more
right
demanding gear-wise.
New circle.
Yeah, it's just a new circle right now with maybe a new mechanic that doesn't really require any effort or brain thought, right?
Yeah, like the new weapon. I mean, the Trespasser mechanic like in Katuga, I thought that was really cool for shaking up the grind, but it's not something that's innately more difficult. It's just something to change up pace, which is like a cool starting point. But yeah, you're right. Like it should be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah, I think Elvia was a good step in the right direction, though, where it's like, okay, it throws a bunch of different things. Like even at Fogans, you got the Nagas that come in, randomly. You got the elite spread out where it's like,
it shows they're willing to try something new.
Yeah, right. You got the bells, you got the musket in the church, you have all these other different things. You have the weapons that spawn. I think the weapons was a really nice little touch because it's like, okay, it gives you something to look for. Where it's like, okay, every now and then for 10 minutes, I'm like fucking juiced no matter how much gear I have. And
it's pretty cool.
Nice step.
Yep.
They should definitely be expanding upon that, but like what Potion Shop said, like it needs to be not necessarily just something different, but something also more mechanically intensive as well.
Yeah, because people won't be satisfied with it. People get hungry. They want a sense of progression. They want a sense of challenge, right? Games back in the day, you would die on Mario in the first level because you jumped in a hole and you had to restart, right? And people love that game, right? It's a very punishing game, and I think it's just
easy to pick up. And
so. We'll see what they do, right? I think maybe the Calpheon Hodum, maybe they'll do a little bit more special stuff with it. We'll have to see. I will say I'm disappointed they did not update the visuals of Hodum. I think the visuals of Hodum are really ugly.
I don't think I've heard a single person ever want Hodum graphics on. Like everyone I ever hear just want the filter removed. And one time, sometimes they do like the fireworks in game and it makes the whole map dark. And stuff. I was grinding Hodum once while that was going on, and it even took off the filter, and I was like, holy crap, this place looks really sick without the green filter. It actually looks really nice, and it doesn't it's not annoying for your eyes either. And I just wish there was, I don't know, either a way to turn it off or maybe just drop the green filter altogether.
Yeah, I think
we get it, it's a Hodum server, it's a Hodum zone, but it gets old.
I think the idea of a customized appearance for Hadoom area is really good, but it works. It looks worse than the original, like you said. Like,
Yeah.
like give me something where there's a fire tornado in the fucking sky, and there's like, I don't know, like it's this dark. I want something that's like feels dark, evil, like Oblivion type stuff.
Yeah, if you want to change the appearance, like actually really change the appearance, don't just, slap a green filter over it and that's it. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's very lazy. Like you said, it'd be cool if there was like unique other like effects around, like a tornado going off in the background, a different skybox. It'd be really cool, but the green, especially if you're like moving in and out between the green zone and like a normal zone, it starts flashbanging your eyes. It gets tiring.
Yep, absolutely.
What do you guys think about? We're just gonna talk about this yesterday. What do you guys think that like every day they pick a different grind spot in the game that has increased drop rate and no karma loss for PvP in the area?
No karma loss.
I actually think they should remove, take it one step farther, remove Arsha entirely. Because the problem with Arsha is that people go there for getting bonus loot, and then they end up finding bonus PvP. So I think they need to remove Arsha entirely and make it where it's like you said, a random grind spot a day is Arsha grind spot, and you get bonus drop rate. And then you make
Hotspots.
Yep, like a hot spot. It's like the hot spot of the day, and it's located on the map, super obvious, right? Maybe you even make it like it has like some type of special appearance in game, even so people can tell.
Well, you said that would be removing the server altogether, right?
Yeah, I think you just remove because I think the idea of Arsha was a really good idea, but the implementation was very poor, right? So
for someone like me, I love to just go on Arsha and PvP. Like it's the PvP server.
So the idea for you, right, was that you would just go to Arsha, whatever the Arsha hotspot was for the day, and you would have a new grind spot to grind every day with guaranteed PvP there.
Okay, so it'd be uptime all day in that specific spot,
right? And then I think
it swaps randomly.
Yep, and I think you could do that either based on in-game BDO day or you could based on physical day. I think in-game BDO day would be really cool because it means you have 4 hours of just going around having a mayhem, and then you just go in, and then someone doesn't realize it changed over to the Arsha run, and you're like, you just get to fuck somebody up. They're like, "What are you doing?" Blah, 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 blah. And then they realize that they're on the Arsha hotspot. And they're like, "Oh," and so
like an old hotspot. No.
And so anyway, I think the idea is that you want to have the same idea where you're causing conflict at grind spots, but you don't want it to be something where people get permanently punished, right? For picking a grind spot. And on top of that, you've split your player base into like Arsha players and non-Arsha players. And so then, you want everybody to be on the same server, playing by the same rules, but also enjoyable for all players at the same time. So
I'm not really a big fan of the drop events not including Arsha, because like if everything just becomes Arsha, then there's no
one
point
goes on Arsha,
which is pretty lame. I really don't know why they don't stack it. They used to stack it, and then they just stopped. So it's like, Arsha's great, and then a drop event comes, it's like, alright, Arsha's dead. Have fun finding PvP.
Well,
yeah.
The problem is you have two different types of players, in my opinion, right? You have players who want PvP, and then they find people who don't want PvP, and they pick on them. And then so you have non-PvP
players.
They
pick on them on Arsha? Wait, what?
Yeah, like people like.
Oh yeah,
but Arsha's the PvP server. Like, who
Arsha's
cares
the
if someone's
PvE server, baby.
It's the
no,
PvE
like
server,
if someone
yeah.
tells me they're just there to grind, I will farm them until they swap. It's
Thank
the
you
PvP
for
server.
demonstrating my point that it's two different player bases who care about Arsha.
Yeah, but the other player base can just go on the normal servers. They don't.
I don't get 50% bonus loot on that server.
Oh, good. Then fight for your spot. You fight for your spot. You get that 50% loot. You make that other guy leave channels.
Yeah. So anyway, the point is you're putting two different players, PvE players versus PvP players. So the PvP players are mad because they don't get a good fight. And then the PvE players are mad because someone's griefing them at their grind spot, and there's nothing they can do about it.
But to be fair,
there's something they can do about it. No. There's something they can do about it, and it's called server swap right there. It's the Arsha PvP server. You can leave. That's your option.
Okay, he's not wrong.
Go somewhere else.
No,
you can literally swap servers. I'm sorry. It's just something I'm really passionate about.
It's the thing is, like I said, it's two different player bases. You want people who want PvP to be fighting other people who want PvP. You see what I'm saying? Right? You don't want people who don't want PvP to be fighting people who do want PvP, because then you have two different people who are not enjoying the game, right?
But listen. We recently like pointed out that you can't PvP or make any form of progression by PvPing. So the same can be said. Like PvP players want to be able to progress by PvPing. So why is it that grinding is the way to progress? Like, why would you take away Arsha when grinding is all like PvE is the entire game for the most part?
I don't understand the point.
Like the point is that like there's no way to grind. Like you said, you don't want PvE players to feel like they're losing out on 50% drop rate, but PvP players already feel left out that they can't make any decent silver by PvPing and progress their gear.
It's not about them not making silver while grinding on a PvP server. It's about the people they're fighting are not PvP players, right? That's the difference. So anyway, the full picture of this is like, how do you make both players happy, right? Because it's a big problem. How do you make both players happy? How do you make it where the PvE players have 50% bonus drop rate, but don't have to fight the PvP players? And I think what you do is you make two. You make one that's an Arsha hotspot, and you make one that's an Elyon hotspot. And the Elyon hotspot is like the tier. That's the name of the tier, right? And you make that one where you have 50% bonus loot, but you can't even flag up. Well, alternatively, you make an Arsha hotspot for the day, which is you have to be flagged up, right?
Okay, but if a question, so there would be no PvP on the other server, but there'd still be a hotspot. Wouldn't people just grind on top of each other and grief each other's time in a congested area?
The idea is that you get to pick your playstyle, right? So if you're a PvP player, you get to pick the PvP server. If you're a PvE player, you get to pick the PvE grind spot. Because the idea is that the idea is that you'd have a hotspot for the day, so to speak, right? So you have a PvE hotspot and you have a PvP hotspot. And
I get what you're saying, but like, I feel like if you want, like, I guess like I kind of get it, but I don't think you should just get a PvE server 50% hotspot zone. You should just have to fight for it. Like, you should have to fight for it.
Well, I mean, as a PvP player, you'd be inclined to say that, wouldn't you?
I mean, yeah, to me, it's a PvP game. Like, yeah, that's been my experience.
Anyway,
the whole time.
that's like that's the idea,
it.
right? Is you want everybody who's playing the game to be able to play the game in the way they want and choose the way they want to play the game, right? So that's the idea, is you want to be able to provide people with options to choose. And if you don't like Elyon hotspot or Arsha hotspot, then you just choose to not grind either one of those spots, and you go grind somewhere else for the day. And then
all I'm saying is the game is made based around PvE players for the majority of the game, so it's like it wouldn't. I don't think it's bad getting some more PvP like incentives.
Yeah, well, I mean, you have to.
That's all
I think the main thing is that the developers won't go for that, right? Because they've made it very clear they don't want PvP stuff. So it has to have a PvE tag to it in order to sell it to the developers as an idea, right? Anyway, we lost track a little bit there. They said Blue Battlefield was still in development, but they're having so much lag that even Korean players can't stand it, which is impressive. We already talked about the 2 new mounts and 3 new classes. That's it for the Calpheon Ball news. But we still haven't talked about the reworks in large yet. Etsu, you obviously a DK main. Are there any classes you're excited for, including DK?
Other classes, believe it or not, actually, Meiwa kind of looks a little cool.
Oh,
don't tell my guild, but yeah, I'm pretty excited to like see how Meiwa is gonna be after reworks. I know it's not gonna be anything crazy or broken, but it looks, if it can be viable, that'll be really cool and interesting.
Are you interested in the PvP or the PvE?
PvP, the PvE, no.
that sound you made summed it up pretty well.
I mean, that's how I also feel like about, unfortunately, like my class with the PvE didn't look. I watched KR streamers grind on it, and it looked really bad compared to other classes with like 30 less AP.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
but yeah, that's like about it. Like, I know we're gonna have like an unlimited tag event and stuff, but it's hard to like think about what class I want to try when there's so many of them, and you still need to like spend your time grinding up SP and XP to still play them once they're tagged. So
that's not a big issue. I have 1,000 skill points on every class in the game other than Witch and Wizard, because screw those classes.
I mean,
we don't have a family-based system for skill points level and everything else.
Wait,
like life skills and all that.
Don't we have that scroll of equilibrium that can like you can just keep trading back and forth forever until the end of the event?
It's a one-time use.
Oh, it's only one-time use?
I think you can only use it on one character.
I thought you could. I thought you kept getting the scroll back. Oh, okay. Well, that's not near as good as I thought it was.
No,
but imagine you could swipe for an item. Imagine an item that like you buy once for like an absurd amount of money, and then forever after that, every character you tag also tags the XP and SP.
Well, the simple solution to this is you make it an NFT, right? And then you make it
Oh,
when people
yeah.
then when people are done with it, you can sell it as the NFT to another player, and Pearlbis takes a cut.
RMT.
So you
I just don't know why they don't do the family system, especially with like tagging messing up like Imperials or trading materials. I find it really odd that like we don't just have a family based system since it's all based around a family system anyways. I understand they'd have to do some like
Make
fixes.
it more expensive or something. I don't know.
But yeah, ideally. I don't know. Really kind of frustrating because like if you play one class and want to try another, like some of these classes, like if you wanted to try Zerker or Warrior nowadays, you have to gain so many more skill points than a Shy or an Archer, for example, and it feels kind of unfair. But
I mean, like mages need like what? A lot of them will tell you, oh, like 2K to play this class, and then you look at Lon and it's like 1300. It's like, why is there such a huge disparity?
Dude, the tag event is the most excited I've been for BDO in 3 years. No lie.
no longer 2 billion cost, only 5 million cost.
Dude, I paid $6 billion to tag.
Dang.
So a free tag, this shit is like music to my ears, bro. I'm gonna tag like 50 times a day, dude. Maywa for breakfast. An hour later, going Musa. 2 hours later, I'm going Ranger. Next hour, we're making a Warrior and tagging him level 1. Dude, look,
Bro, you lose your duel for spot, you go tag that guy's counter.
Yep, true. Actually, I lose my DFS to this guy, or hold on, be right
I'm
back.
tagging Alon. Be right back.
Tag Awaken Long. I got you, bro.
Yo, Awakening Lawn, I've had struggles in Awakening Lawn, bro. I think Kuno is the new play for that. You literally just hit an ECC while you're dashing around, and then you just do spin to win, and they die. You don't have to try. You're in super armor the entire time with it, and then when they're not down, you just blast them. That, or you do Nova Awakening, you just capture them with little vacuum balls and kill them. I don't know. I've been struggling really hard on my lawn since the lag in the game feels so much worse to me. Maybe this is my internet possibly, but the lag feels a lot worse. Do you guys feel the same way? Like,
yo, that's what makes Awaken Lawn so good, dude. The desync with the range grab, being able to yoink someone from like a million miles away. I think with the lag, if the desync wasn't such a thing, it wouldn't be as crazy as it is. Maybe in my mind, anyway.
Yeah, I thought like maybe because I've been grinding on Arsha the last little bit, and I thought maybe like I don't know, maybe like 500 people, and every single one just lags so much that it's hard for me to deal with it. Like I'll miss 3 grabs because they desync, and then they'll be in like a void mode, and their iframe will take priority over my my grab. And so then, and then when I'll actually grab them, I had this one person, I grabbed them, and then they CC'd me while I had them in their hands. I had them in my hands, and they're like, "Gah! Karate chop." I'm like, bleh! Fall on the ground, and I can't do anything, and then it killed me. So I don't know what it is these days. I've just given up on it. But maybe I also don't PvP near as much as other people. I can't imagine.
The lawn playbook, literally what every single lawn in the game does, and there's hardly any counterplay. You go for the grab, like the dash grab. If you miss the grab, WF with the frontal guard on it, and if you don't land it, ice frame, jump back and fly away. Wait like 4 seconds, come back and do it again.
That's infinite loop.
The Awakening Law playbook, and it's so effective. Really, it really is, dude.
I know it
that's
is.
Like the it's so good.
Trying to think. What else is there? Lost Ark is coming out on February 11th.
Indeed, dude.
They officially announced it.
It's gonna be a really nice side game. Looking forward to it.
It's good for competition for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not really into it.
I do think a lot of people are they got some rose tinted glasses and don't really understand how fast that game is going to divulge into hop on, do your dailies, click an enhancement, and then log off because you're really gated by daily and weekly content.
It is true you're daily.
It's going to be
gated.
super fun at first, dude.
It is true you're gated, but the dailies and weeklies you're doing are like the hardest dungeons in the entire world right now, right? They're like mythic tier raids and stuff. That's your dailies and your weeklies and stuff. So it's not like your dailies and weeklies are like sign in, talk to NPC and go, "Hey Pete, I'm here again for my sawdust. I have to deliver it to Paul over there," right? It's like Yeah, it's actually like
Yeah.
it's actually like a good daily that you'll actually enjoy doing and want to do, and you're mad because you can't do it more than once. Not mad because it's bad content or boring content. So it is slightly better. I think Arcade has definitely given people really bad rap about dailies because that's the last thing people remember about dailies is Arcade Unchained. I feel like.
Yeah, the PvP is definitely gonna be super fun for sure.
Yep, I think people are going to enjoy that a lot. I've heard they don't really balance the game around PvP, similar to a lot of our games. So we'll have to see what that looks like long term. But anything's
It's
better
not
than
balanced around PvP.
no. Everybody plays the game for PvE. The PvP doesn't really get balanced properly.
Really?
Yep.
That's crazy because like a
But
lot,
they
like
have
the main
a very
draw is the
popular
arenas.
PvE. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Interesting.
I think in BDO we have a vocal minority that cares about PvP a whole lot. But there's actually not the majority of players. The majority of players play the game casually for PvE, right? And I think that's what's happening is we have like a false sense of what people want, and we're hearing a lot about the PvP in the game. But again, the majority of people are going to be doing PvE. And that's how they develop the game in Lost Ark over there. Is they just keep developing more and more raids and PvE content. They don't hardly ever balance the game or do PvP content. So Nico Tulo, if you guys know him, he's a really good person to ask about that if you guys are interested in. All my information is secondhand from him, but he does Russian PvP all day long. He's done it for like 2 years now or something. Do we have anything else for BDO? Class reworks in particular?
I think that's about it. Korea got some pretty crazy events for their 7-year anniversary, which is typically we get like the same events they get every time. So it's I guess it kind of like a foreshadow for what we'll end up getting for our.
What did they get? 700% EXP or something like that, right?
So they got a bunch of EXP. They got a cake that that lasts for a week, for 7 days. They got a Garmoth event where Garmoth spawns 11 times within the span of 5 days, and every time you go, you're guaranteed 50 Catfish every time, plus her normal rewards. I forget what else they got some other events and stuff too, but the Garmoth event was pretty sick.
They did some last minute changes to class reworks. I think it was Sage Succession got a small PvE nerf, which I think is probably justified, but they probably need to buff his stamina usage or something like that because he now kind of feels a little underpowered mobility wise or something. Like he needs something to give him back. If they're taking away PvE power, they need to give him something else, right?
For Sage? Sorry, can you repeat? What
Yeah, Sage Succession got a PvE nerf.
Yeah, so that Monday they did. So they didn't do a patch on Friday,
DK
but they
got
pushed it
PvE
to
nerfs
Monday.
too. I don't know. It looks like there's like they did like more than one class with PvE nerfs that didn't really deserve them.
I think they're real honestly balancing around Korean meta instead of our meta. Because why else would they buff Awakened Nova PvE and Succession Lawn PvE, but instead nerf Suck Sage PvE?
That's
right?
not really performing that well.
When most of our like Suck Sage PvE it's good, but Awakened Sage is performing better anyway. And most of the sages here are playing Awakening, so it's like
well, that's with the caveat that you're overgeared for the grind spot, right? If you're overgeared for the grind spot, then Sage Awakening is better. But if you're undergeared, then Sage Succession is better because the AP scaling.
I don't think that's true.
Yeah, because
like I'm pretty sure like orcs, like you would hands down pull way more trash with Awakening Sage than you would with Succession Sage.
But you can go in there like 265 AP Kudum, right? Like when you go in there with 285, you're over clearing, right? So like that becomes the Awakening Sage's mobility really kicks in really hard. So, but like if you go and like go Olin Valley, I would bet money that Succession Sage would be way better, just because his AP scaling is like on par with Guardians. So I bet he'd be a lot better there. But he's like Succession Sage, in my opinion, is like Guardian 2.0 in a lot of ways because he has that slow playstyle, but hits like a fucking truck.
He hits like a truck in PvP, but it never, at least from what I've seen, it never looked like it hit like a truck in PvE.
His PvE is good. His PvE is good, but it's definitely not Awakened Nova or Succession Lawn, which is the weirdest thing.
Yo, they
buffed those.
They buffed one. I think it was the Q or the Shift Q from Awakened Nova by 100%. It's 100% more damage than it used to be. It's actually
cool.
Yeah.
Yep. And
Sick.
they gave Lon what
10%.
More spin damage.
They gave Lon like 6% attack speed and more spin damage.
Yep.
Yeah, it really needed that, honestly.
Succession Lon, and it's like, why? That's so
I
weird,
think
dude.
honestly, I mean, to be fair, like, all right, so I started making my tier list in early 2020, like very early 2020. And when I started making my tier list, we didn't know that Succession Lawn was a good in PvE. Like nobody knew it. And so we started making it. I started making the tier list, and like someone like argued with me about how good it was. And so by I don't know halfway through 2021, we realized, you know, around the time Elvia was coming out, we started realizing that Lawn was like okay, right? Lawn Station was okay. And I feel like Korea just hasn't ever caught on to that, right? Like we had that in Eureka moment, and I don't think Korea ever had that in Eureka moment, right? So I feel like they're just still living with the idea of that all these old meta classes are still the best ones, and they're not anymore.
It's really sad though, because it shows that they're still just only looking at.
Well, see, that's the thing though, is that like it's kind of funny though that like they balance everything around Korea, because I went to, or when I went to Pearl Abyss headquarters back in November, I was like, yo, so why is it that Striker keeps getting massive buffs and Sork keeps getting massive buffs when both of those classes are really strong? Like why? And then they just flat out said, man, it's just because the Korean player base just thinks that Striker and Sork just aren't very strong. And it's like it's
really worrying though that they go
dynamic,
based
dude.
off of thinking though.
Mhm.
It's like such a weird dynamic. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, I believe it when you look at like the 1v1 tourneys with Sork specifically. It just wasn't in KR. I'm sorry, but it just was hot garbage. But in NA, like our Sorks like play way different. I mean, not just in NA, like EU, NA, like the other regions, like they play way different than KR Sorks do. But I believe it if they base it off of them, because you know, you have that past experience with it.
Well, the thing is, like, Sork excels not in her ability for gear scaling, but your ability to perform on the class, right? Like, that's always been the case. Like, you know, if you take 300 AP versus 300 AP, like, Sork will, you know, tip for tat will do less damage and, like, everything. But you take a good sorceress, they'll take the 300 AP and they'll make it work because they know they'll animation cancel the iframe perfectly, right? They'll get that CC when you weren't expecting it, and they'll like whittle you down, and you'll feel like they have like 400 AP, even though they only have 300. But a bad circle will feel like they are like 200 AP, you know?
My only problem with it is it's just not that, it's not even that hard to do that well on Sork.
See, that's the thing, though. It used to, I will 100% say Sork used to be one of the most hard, like one of the hardest class play in the game, if not the. But nowadays with Sork, they've put all of
like
her
when a Sork's
power
catching you?
in 3 abilities, right? If it doesn't take a rocket scientist to hit Grim Reaper's Judgment, Soul Reaver, and then Crows after someone gets knocked down or grabbed.
I mean, you'd
right?
be surprised.
And that's the biggest
right?
thing. Like, they've lowered the floor so even Junior, I imagine, could play Sork to at least at some level of effectiveness, and that's saying a lot, right?
Poor Junior.
I mean, like those things you see like Sorks do, like I can attest, like personally, like I put time in it. Like when a Sork's iframing around, like, and you get CC'd, they're probably like a lot of them, not all of them, but a majority of them are probably just iframe eruption. I don't even care what you're in. I'm just gonna throw it. Then I'm gonna throw ignition, and then I'm gonna throw TBS while dancing around you, and eventually something's gonna hit you, and then we'll go into Grim Soul Reaper Cartians, you know, like it's not that hard, which is also the concerning thing because it apparently is over there.
Well, and again, I think this goes in to say like the hardcore players over there have all quit to go to more, you know, respectable PvP games. So the quality of information they're getting over there is just also just really watered down, you know?
Yeah. But why? I just wish they would look elsewhere for it when there's.
I think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like if the because the developers themselves have shown and said that, you know, they don't really like, they're not really like PvP isn't their main focus, and they don't think player killings should be a thing and blah blah blah. So it's like I think it's more a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Where it's like the game is just kind of being molded in the devs' vision indirectly. So PvP players have just left over time because of that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I'm grinding for fun, so big agree.
You said grinding for fun.
Yeah. I'm being molded into their vision.
Yeah, I'm really curious, like what the really dynamic over there looks like. for like actual like people, like how many people are actually left. I know a lot of the Korean streamers have left, and we can see that in the BDO directory that a lot of the original BDO streamers have kind of fallen out, and I feel like that's kind of just a indicator of where the game's at, and that happened a lot earlier in Korea than it happened on NA, So we'll see. I mean, I guess maybe the thing we should have is we should just take the game for what it is today, and then not hope for what it is tomorrow, and maybe have a more realistic approach to it from now on. Because I mean, I would love it to be a PvP game, but it seems like they're just moving farther and farther away from that. Every time we mention PvP, they're like, nope. So I don't know. It's what's weird about it is they keep giving us these like little PvP announcements, and if they really don't care about PvP anymore, they should just. Why are they doing a ranked arena, right? Why are they doing a new battle arena, a red battlefield? If they really don't care about PvP that much, why are they redoing Node Wars? It's like it's just a little strange to me. It seems very two-faced to say, well, we don't care about PvP, we don't want to balance PvP, we don't want to fix karma, open world PvP, but here's a new red battlefield map, and you're like, wait, what did you say?
Yeah, I do think that like
that obviously shows like there is like enough players that are interested in those types of things for them to do it.
Yeah, like I think if we zoom out overall, like right now, things are kind of weird. But if we look at where the game was a year ago, they did make a lot of progression in the last year, right? Because like I've been going through and like looking at making this like video kind of encapsulating how much the game has changed in the last year. But it's like it's changed a lot, right? We got the pause and play loot scrolls. We got the enhancing conveniences, right? We got the class reworks coming out. We got the 2 dungeons that were added. One of which, the first dungeon, is so worth your time to run twice a week if you're not. And the boss fight is so fun. You got the pin weekly gear, right, for the weekly quest. You got the pin ring. You got all of these things that they've done in the past year. And I think it's only going to get better next year, especially with Lost Ark coming, because it's like, I think they already know that, which is probably the main reason why they're throttling some of the content to the rest of the world, right? So we're gonna see. I think next year is probably going to be another big year for the game overall.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I think they have definitely one that's very obvious. They're listening to at least some of the player base, which is good. The Calpheon Ball, I feel like the new structure of the Calpheon Ball is honestly knocked it out of the park with the structure of the new Calpheon Ball. Obviously, some of the information inside the Calpheon Ball was, because of previous, events, and because they, they didn't really have the winter region ready yet. So not everything in the announcements were really good, but I like the new structure a lot. So, and like you said, I think like we'll have to see. Like the proof is in the pudding. Like they think they've been trying to improve. And we've seen the fruits of that in some areas. Like I don't think we've gotten as many quality of life changes that we've gotten this year. Like the quality of life changes we've gotten this year are this innumerable. They've fixed like family inventory, and I don't know. It's just like they had literally like 5 patches in a row of quality of life changes. We have a stats page now, so lots of good stuff. I don't have anything else. Do you guys have anything else?
I did kind of have like one question, but it was like from like something we talked about an hour ago.
Sure.
Shoot.
It was about specifically, we were talking about like the introduction of, it was around like T5 pets, not necessarily T5 pets, but having more than one pet. And you made a comment that I was like interested, like in expanding upon, where you said it would be more pay to win, but I wanted to like argue a little that it would be less pay to win, or not necessarily more pay to win to have more pets.
So if you had a 6 pet, what it basically means you have to have another $100 on average to get another tier 4 pet. And then
but you wouldn't necessarily have to make it tier 4.
The argument, right, would be, well, you don't need another tier 4 pet for all grand spots. So you could have like, a full army of 6 tier 3 pets, and then you would work out just fine, and it'd actually be cheaper. And that would be true. But then what you know how Probus does things. They would then just make it where you grind them in faster, you kill more mobs faster, the mobs drop more loot, and then guess what? You'd be encouraged to buy a full set of tier 4 pets again. And that's kind of what happened with loot scrolls, right? We saw what happened with loot scrolls. We saw it happen with inventory spots on how they were designing. They're releasing new classes to get people to buy more inventory slots and wait. And then they designed seasons where you have to Cronstone Tavala gear and stuff, right? They've constantly, reiterated over and over and over again that they want to monetize the game more, and I feel like it would just devolve into, hey, well, now you're required to have 6 tier 4 pets, right?
I will say that I think tier 4 or increasing the amount of slots we have by 2 would be less pay to win than them adding T5 pets, in my opinion.
You
Just
can
because
also
they give
get
so
them off
many
market.
pets away, dude. Like
Yeah, you can get them from
looking
market
in my
too.
look at my inventory. I got this T4, this T4, this T4, and
A T5 would
this
cost
T4. I got
probably
like 4 for
3
free.
T4s, right? Making a T5 would be your regular tier 4 and then also 2 or 3 tier 4s, which is a lot.
Mhm.
Versus another pet slot could just be one of the free pets they give. Or if they're doing the silver incentive, then tier 5 pets are obviously better, which is what they talked about. They want it to be a silver thing. I just don't know how they would introduce a new tier of pet without it obviously being mandatory for most players. It's like that's what they said they wanted to do. I just don't know why you would talk about upgrading the pet system if it's like not going to be better. That's the only thing I don't understand from what they said.
I think the compromise you would make here is you would actually you would add a 6 pet slot, but you would actually reduce the price of pets to make it where it still costs on average $500 to get a full set of a full set of 6 tier 4s, right? So you actually reduce the cost of the pets in order to compensate for having more total pets. So the total pay to win would be the same.
With like the tier 3 or tier 4 pets for like the same as a regular baby pet too, though. I think people just need to be more patient and be like more affordable and efficient with their money. And then if a new player comes in, obviously they're going to be probably more reckless than the average player. But I think that people just take their time.
My main gripe overall is, right, we already have loot scrolls that are out of control, value pack, combo still blessing, Secret Gold Moon, artisans, cronstones, selling costumes, right? And then you have pets, you have inventory space, you have weight, you have marketplace. What's it called? You have your warehouse storage. You have maids. You have family inventory. You have family inventory weight.
Okay, you say maids,
tint.
but I think I've only swiped on like 3 maids, and I have like 15 of like the free ones they've given us just from logging
All right,
in.
BDO apologist. All right, I hear you.
No,
But
I mean it's an actual thing.
Is,
a lot of these things they give out.
They have a lot of they have too much pay to win in the game currently. That's what it is. They have too much pay to win in the game currently. I like finding ways of making it less pay to win in the game and not giving them an excuse to add more pay to win into the game.
What are you winning at though? What is it to win in video?
You guys are always such argumentative on this type of stuff.
We're arguing, but it's like it's a discussion.
Yeah, because like think about it, right?
There and let you just say it.
Like we had 4 pets at one point, and they increased the amount of pets you could have out to 5, and I don't think that raised the pay to win. Like I think that's 100% less pay to win than making T5 pets, because we're gonna have to pay no matter what they say. There's no shot that if they make it so you don't have to pay, they will be pointless, in my opinion, because why else would they have not changed the system up to this point? What's the point of getting a T5 pet if it's true that they made it so that you feel like you don't have to go for it, right?
I mean, yeah.
Like, what would be the point of them? Like, what would be the purpose? You know, like if they were gonna make it, if they weren't gonna make it pay to win, why not just give us another pet slot like they've done in the past?
Well, I mean, because that means that the total amount that a new player would have to spend on it for a full set of 6 tier 4 pets would be on average $600. And you could be like, well, you could wait for deals or whatever. But it's not really the point of the argument. Is that you could play the game a little bit. You could game the system and save a little bit of money. You can already do that with the same pets, right? With 5 pets. So you're basically increasing the pay to win by about 20% on pets itself. That's kind of like the idea of the 6 pet slot and why I don't really like it. And I mean, if you want to argue for more pay to win in the game, then I think that's fine. But I think they can come up with another solution that's not pay to win. Make it where
I mean, I could agree with that perspective. It's like, okay,
like I don't know, maybe make it where your 6th pet slot is like a questline pet where you just get it automatically by doing the main questline. And it's just automatically there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm in favor of them adding, even if they have to make it a treasure item, where you get the treasure item and it gives you a slot or 2 or something.
That would be legit. A treasure item pet. That's the only way you can have 6 out is having the 6th one being a treasure item pet. I would like that. That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that. I mean, I'd be okay with something like that. It's just for me. I just don't see them being able to introduce T5 pets without making it either pay to win or just a cosmetic change to your pets. So that's why I just like, okay, give us another slot
Well-
so we can throw in some of the pets. But from a new player perspective, I can see like, okay, like
Yeah.
you know,
The way I've seen it is like the goal is not necessarily to make it tier 5 pets. The goal is to make it where your current pets your current pets don't pick up at tier 4 at 2.25 per second, right? You want it to be where it's actually like every 2 seconds you pick up loot, or maybe every 1.5 seconds you pick up loot. You see what I'm saying? Like the goal is to make it where the loot time for your pet decreases, and I think that's the goal of the. I think the reason that they say tier 5 pet is because there is a 4th slot in there for another skill, and I think they have tier 5 already coded in the game. Because you look at your pets and you pull them up in your information window, there's 4 slots for skills, which we don't have anything for that 4th slot right now. So I think tier 5s are already coded, which is the reason why they suggested them. And mobile already has up to tier 6 pets. So,
Dude, the pets on mobile are so crazy though. You literally gain AP, DP, and actual.
What?
You gain percent damage from your BSR monster. You gain EXP. Yeah, the pets in mobile
What
are
if tier
way
5 is gonna have monster damage?
well. So basically, I mean they. Well, no, because they talked about not wanting to make it like mandatory, and if it had monster damage, it would be mandatory. But it was really odd because like in mobile, like the pets are super pay to win because they literally give you gear score, which is
That's
used in all
crazy.
facets of the game. It is very crazy. Mobile is extremely pay to win. That's what kind of is killing it, and that's why NA is technically, I think, more profitable. They showed in last year.
yep.
Like media mobile was crazy the first year or two, but then obviously it was like people were like, "Dude, I'm spending all this money and I'm still not catching up. What the frick?"
Yeah, I think that's really the long term fear for me is like we're on this treadmill of getting closer and closer and closer to becoming BDO mobile, right? Or maybe it's a longer path to get there, but we're still heading that direction. It's not like we're stationary. We're still getting more pay to win in BDO. Like, you know, the costumes went up to wherever they're at now, 330. In Korea, they're like 1 billion silver or something like that, right? They're like close to 1 billion silver now.
they are 1 billion silver,
Yeah.
almost exactly.
So like we're just getting more and more and more pay to win in BDO, and like that's not the trend we need. We're like now you need gold loot scrolls instead of blue loot scrolls, right? And before you didn't need any loot scrolls. So I just don't like the trend that we're still continuing going down, which is more and more and more pay to win. And I'd like them to be satisfied with their current money and try to increase their player base to increase their profits and increase the quality of their game to increase their profits, rather than trying to take a shortcut into my piggy bank, So that's why I keep reiterating. I would like to see them find another way to get a 6 pet or a tier 5 pet. I like to find another way it doesn't require my wallet, personally. And I'm glad that's what they iterated. They reiterated that in the Calpheon Ball that they don't want to make another pet pay to win or tier 5 pets. So we'll see what they end up doing. That was a really good question.
So I just want to clarify one thing. There's a lot going on when you talked about like monetizations. Did you by any chance mention cronning Tuvala?
Yeah.
Like you felt like you needed to cron Tuvala?
So it's not that I need to cron Tuvala, it's just that you have to look at player behavior and how players are actually behaving.
I don't know a single person in my life that has croned a Tuvala piece because it's so easy to enhance.
So
Nabron did it like a dent. Okay, I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah,
But-
Nabron.
So what some people
I'm
are
putting him on the point.
So what some people are doing is they want to get into Arsha PvP on the seasons really fast. So they actually have all their failstacks lined up, their Cronstones lined up. They get enough of the Blackstones lined up from events and stuff like that, right? And then basically just go in. They just go in and immediately cron everything to pin, and then go to Arsha so they can camp new players, right? And that's like a really big popular thing. And that's obviously a niche example, but it does prove the point.
Interesting. Okay, I was just like genuinely curious because I actually don't really take part in seasons too often.
Yeah.
So that's why I was like really curious. Like to me, that just sounded like ridiculous in my world. But if there's actually people,
well, and they actually encourage this because once you get a Tet Tuvala, they give you a 40 fel stack, And when you get your first pin Duval, they give you a 60 fail stack for every pin Duval that you get. So, and a 60 fail stack is just enough to start crawling it for the next one. So that they set it up in such a way where you can basically, once you get try Tavala, the rest of it's just, you can just cron the rest of the way.
Yeah, I guess it's just so crazy to me because it looks so easy to enhance that wouldn't be needed. But I guess there is people doing it. Yeah.
Well, the newest season, I think, because they changed the rates to be way more ridiculous.
They should disable cronning then for Tuvala gear. What?
Well, no, it makes them money.
Exactly. That's the whole reason why you have it.
Will hit full pen Duval off of just leveling up to 59 and opening the chest box because of the new rates. But yeah, I'm not.
Okay.
Yeah, I actually think low key they are ruining the new player experience by giving people more loot, because you just get your initial Tavala loot so fast that you just hit a brick wall, and then you're like, well, I'm not motivated to play anymore.
They're frustrated that they were accelerating the player thing, so they wanted to slow it down, but also catch them up. But now players are accelerating so fast that they'll hit a point and they're like, well, I'm already 250 AP. I got to grind more.
I got to grind 100 bill for games or 50 bill.
Dude, I'm sorry, but you just grinded like 5 minutes for all that gear, dude. You do actually have to play the game.
Yeah.
Dude, I don't agree with the sentiment that like it's taking new players forever to catch up, and it's so hard nowadays.
That's what people preach, man. I'm just telling you.
I know they do. They definitely do. They definitely preach.
Not hard now.
What's happening is they get new players into the game who haven't played before. They don't have an experience in BDO. They have no idea what's going on, and then they basically get their Tuvala gear, and then after they have their Tuvala, they hit a brick wall. Because back in the day for us, right, you would start off with like, green gear, then you'd go to like Laverto.
I started off with Jarrett necklaces and Jarrett earrings and shit.
Bro, you don't even hit a brick wall no more. I would say that you hit a brick wall before a month ago, but now you literally go to Jatina, you accept her weekly quest, and you basically just
get a free.
You make these stones and you keep dumping them into your gear, and you're getting stats. Once you hit level 5 on a gear, bam, 100% chance to pin. Like, you have the road set out for you, and then you still have the avenue to buy stuff or like enhance
you have to play the game. I think that's what there's like. Yeah. That's like the weird general consensus from a lot of players. Is like they don't know they've signed up for a Korean grinding MMO. Like I guess they forget that. I don't know,
because that's what I'm kind of saying, right? Like for us. You'd be like, that's not a brick wall. That's a regular grind. It's really easy actually. But for them, that's like, holy smokes, I have to grind 10 hours today to get my next gear upgrade. That's insane. And that's what old BDO was really good at doing, was you just didn't really care about that kind of stuff because you were just like going around having fun and exploring the game world. And now they've just boiled it down to like silver per hour, right? And it's really just hurt, I think, the player experience. So I think they really need to actually make the new player experience really, really like much longer and rethink it. I think they need to make it where like I think they need to go back and like redesign all green gear, redesign all the blue gear in the game, and then actually give people like green gear and blue gear as they're going through quest lines, and teach them how to enhance like witch earrings. Teach them how to enhance, like, hey, go smash it together and bring it back to me. Okay, you can keep that now. Thanks for cleaning up the Hex Sanctuary or whatever. And teaching people where to get these, like drop icons on the map where to grind items and stuff. Like teach people how to play the game. Like I don't know, you're getting these items so fast that I feel like these people are just coming in real fast and they drop out real fast and they spend $100 and Probus is happy with that. But that's why they keep, I think, where this complaint is coming from new players. This is not satisfying. There's no way it's satisfying.
I don't think it's new players making these complaints. I think it's people that come or played the game in the past. Like, just like in Reddit, right? You'll have a lot of people commenting on shit that they know nothing about because they haven't played the game in years.
And they'll tell you they don't play the game, but they just look at it for memes.
Like, I haven't played this game in forever. They're still making these dog shit decisions. It's like, bro, you haven't even played the game anymore. What are you haven't even played the game since fucking Sauce was the meta. Dude was like, man, I used to have to grind Stars In all day. There's nothing to do but grind for distos. I'm like, bro, what do you mean? Stars In hasn't been the best spot in forever. Yeah.
Right, Sulfur at Valencia.
Or you have these like disgruntled players that do stupid shit and like click all their gear on like a 5% success rate and then rage because they failed. It's like, of course, dude. Of course you're going to if you're YOLOing shit on a 5% success rate.
Listen, I saw Salt click and he made his gear in the first click. 5% chance. Why can't I do it?
Okay, it's just RNG. You know, some people win, some people lose.
Yeah, I definitely think they need to get back to their roots. This whole game of cashing on new players is what they're doing, right? They're trying to be like that gotcha type of game where you go and advertise a streamer to go play a game. They come in, the new players come in and spend $100, $200 because it's gotcha. And then,
I just don't. Do you think majority of new players do that? Because I don't believe that they make that's happening. Majority of new players.
I think
I will say a large portion of their money is probably off of new players.
Yeah.
Personally,
Yeah, absolutely.
I would say,
because what's happening is
think about it, right? Like,
I don't
what
think
are
it's
they
off
getting
of whales
off of you?
just swiping. Well, not me, because I'm I grind for fun, but I know there's like plenty of whales who just, like you said before, like they just swipe outfits where they're at our gear, and you have to grind like 100 bill, and
so
I'd rather just shell out like $1,000.
I'm obviously just speculating here, but I'm speculating most of their profit is coming from new players because all the content they develop is always from new players, right? They develop seasons. They're developing Winter Duvenkroon Starter Zone for new players. They develop Taval for new players. They updated seasons every 3 months. They update seasons for new players. They always give you a new Black Spirit Pass. Like they have to be making a lot of money off it. So that's why it's my bet that it's like their number one thing. They keep talking about in their investor calls that it's the new player experience, and then new players turn into veteran players. We have to make sure we have new players. They're trying to make excuses to us when they talk to us about new players. We say like, hey, why don't you make veteran player content? Well, we need to get new players in the game so we get more veteran players before we make veteran player content. So I think that's what they're focused on. I think it's the majority of their money. I know several people who are streamers who've come over and played the game. They spent like $400 on it. They'll spend $400 on BDO while they're playing through it.
But they can. Like they can afford to do that.
Yeah, but I mean that's what a lot of players are doing, right? If you're a player and you make it to 50, right? You probably end up spending on average like $100 on BDO. Obviously, some guy spends none, and another guy spends 200, and it averages out to be 100 or 50 or something like that, right? But I mean, they make a lot of money off that because you gotta think as a new player, how much money did you spend on BDO as a new player? Like, I need a value pack because it just ran out, and I'll buy one pet. And
I actually played without pets for a whole entire year and no tent and no value pack. So I guess I'm the anomaly, but I was definitely enjoying the game and clicking R at Fogan's. I definitely did not fall for it. I simply chose myself.
But
I used my brain and I said, nah.
But for every one of you, right, there's got to be at least two people one person who does the exact opposite of you, right?
Oh, I'm definitely sure of it. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm the majority at all.
So
I also didn't fall for predatory tactics.
They're obviously going to put their money in investment where they think it's going to make them more money, right?
I mean, it's a business, right? Like they have to make money. It keeps the servers up at least, but yeah.
Can we segue to something?
Sure.
Okay, listen, dude. So I kind of got been thinking about this where it's like, okay, so since BDO's inception in 2016, every game that's come out has been dubbed as BDO Killer or BDO is gonna die. Okay, right? We had the 12 Arcade releases.
Bless.
We had the 12 Bless releases. We recently had New World, which was dubbed to be the most recent Lost Ark Killer. When we see how that turned out.
To be fair, it has more players than BDO. It does.
To be fair, it does have more players, but at what point does BDO get labeled as kind of like timeless in a way where it's like it's always retaining or having like that revolving door of players where the veteran player base might go down, but like there's always new players coming into the game.
Well,
nothing will replace BDO until something copies its combat.
To explain when it's going to die, BDO is going to die when BDO starts making worse choices, right? That's basically it. BDO will be the reason why BDO dies. It'll be the same reason why WoW died. WoW died because they made bad choices in World of Warcraft, not because another game came out. Because World of Warcraft made bad choices.
What does dying mean in this context? Because
there's just losing a majority of your player base, right? And I think a majority would be like around 50%, and they've definitely lost 50% in World of Warcraft. So in BDO, losing 50% would be a majority, I'd say.
Steady decline. I mean, Blizzard technically was dying after Wrath of the Lich King, but that was more of like the hype from those expansions versus like, the next ones. You could say it really is we have to use the term dying very carefully because you could technically say, oh yeah, WoW was dying ever since Wrath of the Lich King, even though Wrath of the Lich King was like its best expansion where its peak was, and the other expansions weren't as good, but they were still fantastic expansions. But like I don't feel like WoW really died until post Legion. I think after Legion is when WoW really died. BFA was like the final nail in the coffin. But the problem is, if you look at their if there's an API that was developed that could track how many subs were in the game, it looks like WoW's been dying forever. But it's like it's not. I mean, just because people are unsubscribing and not playing isn't arguably that the game's dead. It's just that players are not playing the game because they don't want to. Versus like players not playing because the game sucks, which is what happened post Legion. Right. Technically, the expansion before Legion too, but it's difficult. And yeah, I agree with like the declining players is also a term of death, but like I think it's tough because you can't say it's just your veteran population either. Well, if the veteran population leaves, they might have just hit the cap in the game and decide to play something else because they reached their goal. Whereas like if no new players are playing, but like there will always be some new player. It's got to be. It's a niche term.
There's two different things to consider here too, right? One, what would actually be the true death of BDO, right? What would actually constitute that? And in what game would that be potentially, or why would that happen? And then the other thing is, why are people saying they think it's going to be a BDO killer? Because they're saying that because they are for a particular reason, and I believe they're saying that because they're looking for another. They want BDO to be good. They want BDO to be good. They want BDO to be a game they want to play. And they're sad that it hasn't been that. And so they're looking for some other game to fill that void that they wish BDO was. And I feel like the same thing with World of Warcraft. People don't want World of Warcraft to die. They want it to be a game that they enjoy playing. They want it to be a better game. And that's where that comes from, I feel like.
Would you say they're coping?
We're all on copium.
I mean, obviously, copium is a popular term right now in the Twitch community, but it's not about coping. It's really about just wanting more out of the product than they're currently getting. And I think BDO has a lot of players right now where the developers are not doing living up to standards, right? They're not living up to standards for BDO, and the players realize it, right? They haven't fixed lag, they haven't fixed time to kill. They aren't really introducing new and interesting things to BDO, like not at least at the quantity that people would want. They're not fixing life skills. We haven't got a new life skill in BDO since, I guess, sailing, right? And so these are all things that are really, underperforming in the eyes of the players. And so when players have negative feelings from that, they say, well, what's going to be the BDO killer, right? That's like, I feel like that's the response for having all those feelings of BDO's not living up to what I wish it was. Is what is going to live up to the standard. Anyway, that's the way I see it. I think it's two factor, right?
Yeah, and I guess time will tell. And it's also another thing where it's like it's okay to say that BDO is a good game, dude. Like it's fine.
Oh, careful.
I'm saying, it's okay to say that BDO is a good game. It does have a shit ton of problems, but it's okay that.
Yeah,
I think that's why the players are so passionate and frustrated too, is because it really is only a few changes away from being a really, really good game.
That's why it's so frustrating too.
That's why it's so frustrating to be here for years and be like,
just not make those
things, fix it, and they can't. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think also another problem is like they don't have a strong vision for the game, right? Like the players have a really strong vision of the game, and they want it to be a PvE game where the end game is PvP, and you have open world PvP mixed in there a little bit, like pepper and salt in there. And the developers just don't have a strong vision for the game. The players have a strong vision for the game, but the developers don't.
True. It's like what you said earlier with the they'll say they don't care about PvP, and then it's like, oh, here's arenas. It's what do you want then?
Yep. I feel like if they had a strong vision for the game, then people who didn't rally, didn't like their vision, well, they'd just go to another game. They realize that, well, BDO is not for me. And then people who did like BDO would come back to BDO and be like, oh, this is a game you're trying to make. I've been wanting to play this for a long time. Like, let's make this happen. What are you going to do to make that vision happen? And you lay that out. Because at the Calpheon Ball, like, I got no sense of where they want to take BDO. Like, they're just like, where's BDO going to be in 3 years? Like, well, we're releasing the winter region, right? And it's like, well, what was your goal with releasing the winter region? The winter region is coming out. You're just like, you're not trying to fix a problem. You're not trying to like make it some type of new interesting combat. You're not trying to, I don't know, like wilderness type PvP. Like what's the goal? And it's just like it feels like they're just like in maintenance mode almost, right? That's what I think the way it makes me feel. It's like you're gonna have BDO that like it is currently for the rest of forever, and you're gonna like it, and you can't expect anything extremely new and fresh to come to the game. And maybe that's okay. I mean, I guess BDO will be around for a long time, and it won't be much better than this, and it won't be much worse than this. I guess it's fine.
But
I mean, it's definitely survived a lot longer than the majority of other MMOs have. That's
5
one
years
thing that I
strong,
can
dude.
say. I mean, 5 years in the terms of in the length of an MMO's lifetime and still be trending upwards in players is, I mean, that's not an easy feat. As much
Is
as
that
like
5
the
years in
Pablo had.
KR too? I thought KR was longer.
KR celebrated 7 years this month.
Yeah.
So KR's closed beta is 7 years. KR as a region official release has been 6 years and a couple months now.
Okay.
Because they basically, our version came out about 9 months after Korea's official release, something like that. So closed beta in Korea was, I guess, November, December. I don't have anything else. That's about all I got, boys. We've been here for about 3 hours. Nice long podcast. You guys want to wrap up?
Yeah. I think that was a good one.
I'll take that as you don't want to wrap up, but we'll have to anyway. Yo, we're at the holidays here. Happy holidays to everyone who's listening. Happy holidays to you guys as well. And let's get into it. What are you guys going to be doing for this week for the holidays? What are you going to be doing for New Year's? What are you going to be doing BDO? What's going on? Start off with Kerr. What you got going on?
Dude, I'm going to see that new Spider-Man movie today.
Two?
To see what the hype is. I think it's like the third one or whatever. I don't remember which one it is.
Wait. Far From Home?
Yep. Comes
Wait,
up
that's up today?
tonight.
I'm going to
What?
watch it tonight, soon actually. So that's going to be a thing. I don't know. I haven't seen the second one. I'm going to go into it without watching the second one. And if it's good enough, I'll watch the second one.
No.
I mean, I still have some
Who
time. I
are
might watch the
you?
second one. We'll see. But
Watch it. Oh my god.
Just watch it and then go.
Need to watch the second one, Kurt. Please. Oh my god.
Kurt.
Kurt's got to get off now so that you can actually watch the second one in time for actually the movie.
Yes. Oh my god.
yeah, I quite literally would probably have to do that. But yeah, so I'm going to go see that.
Someone to watch it with, just hit me up. I'm free. Let's
He's
go.
watching it times 2 speed.
Watch it in times too.
Oh my god.
All right, so Spider-Man movie.
And then other than that, it's just like
Caphras.
other than that, we're pushing Caphras, dude.
Hell yeah.
Pushing Caphras. Dude, there's 30,000 Caphras pre-orders on NA right now at max price.
I can save half the
fucking
market.
rough.
I just ring.
Lon could literally save us if he gets the ring, dude.
That's literally all I need. I have so many Caphras in my bag.
That's actually kind of insane. Blonde Bear, Olin Valley, what you up to?
Grinding Olins. I've been grinding it ever since we started today. I'll be grinding some Ibedor scrolls and Olins basically for the next week or so. I'm working this weekend, and then I have a Christmas work party on Monday, and then all of next week is just work, and then obviously the holidays. So time with family and working mostly.
Awesome. Etsu, it's your first time being on the podcast. Give yourself a shout out. Tell people where they can find you, and what are you doing this week?
Oh, you can find me on twitch.tv/EtsuMoon. I played Dark Knight. I'm 670 gear score, 309 AP, and I main the class, and I like to grind for fun every day. And I'm probably going to be doing that the entirety of this month, just grinding. Yep.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm Potion Shop. I'm going to be grinding for the Great Marty Stones, trying to get 629 energy. That's the hard cap energy. That's what I'm doing. Thank you guys for listening to Nerds and Words, episode 67, and we'll see you next time.